is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Fairly big news day. Certainly a hell of a lot has transpired over the last 48 hours or so. But we're going to kind of home in on one topic in particular, because this one particular topic could have nationwide implications in terms of the 2024 election, some 7+ months down the line. So we're going to be focusing mainly on one topic, and that is the abortion ban in Arizona. Now, I want to talk to folks on the right and the left about this. The right may not be happy, but bear with me. We're going to certainly discuss it from your aspect, because this is a victory for folks on the right. If you lean right, if you're Republican and evangelical, my beloved MAGA, this should be viewed as a victory. Talking about the abortion ban in Arizona. By the way, we were just talking about one in Florida last week. They now have a 6-week abortion ban in Florida also. And keep in mind, a lot of women don't even know that they're pregnant by the 6th week. So essentially 2 of them. So we're going to be talking about it. And Moo, thank you for that extension. One of my favorite viewers, by the way. Moo, thank you. We'll be talking. We certainly will be talking. But what I want to ask you guys right off the bat, for both my liberals and conservatives, MAGA alike, for the GOP, with the strong abortion bans that are taking place around the nation. Simple question, 3 words. Are you happy? A lot of folks been fighting to get Roe v. Wade overturned 50+ years. Thanks to President Trump, it has happened. So right off the bat, and I see your comment, Tim Moore, saying don't let Moo up. Why would I let Moo up? Moo is a respected guest. But I want to ask right off the bat, are you happy, if you lean right, with the victories scored by President Trump in terms of protecting the sanctity of life? Are you happy with the various abortion bans, some being incredibly strict, taking place all over the country? Are you happy? Now, for the liberals, I'm going to ask a similar question, not the same question, but a similar question in regards to the exact same topic. Now, with Arizona implementing an abortion ban from a law in 1864, some 160 years ago, before President Lincoln, during damn near Civil War era type stuff, before Arizona was even a state of the Union, part of the Union, before women had any say-so about laws governing them at all. Arizona put back in place an abortion ban from 1864. So what I want to ask the liberals, are you concerned, because I did a video about this earlier, if we can give rights back to the states and they can implement laws from the 1800s, we have to, what other law can they implement? Are you 100% confident that it'll stop here, that there is no other law from the 1800s that they could ever implement? Do you feel confident about that? As a liberal, are you concerned with a law from 1864 being implemented in 2024? So we're going to be asking that. And right off the bat, President Trump today, not long ago, by the way, an hour or 2 ago, stated if he is reelected to the nation's highest position, he would never sign a federal abortion ban. Right off the bat, do you believe him? Do you find Trump to be trustworthy? Do you believe that you have, with confidence, that he never do something like that? How confident do you feel that he's telling the truth? Now, keep in mind, Trump has boasted, bragged about being responsible for having Roe v. Wade overturned, along with the likes of Carrie Lake in Arizona, who referred to the 1864 law as a great law, by the way, before it became law, and now all of a sudden she's backtracking. Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, they've all talked about a federal abortion ban. Trump said he would never sign one. You feel confident that that is actually accurate information? There we go. So that's our topic we're discussing today. Program is always will remain MAGA friendly. MAGA always my preferred guest. You know how it works. The liberals are welcome as well. We don't block, ban, or censor any damn body for their comments. If you disagree with the host, anybody in the comment section, nobody gives a damn. It's always about free speech. Looking at the comments, Kevin O'Leary. Yes, he can't sign a federal law because it's a states' rights issue. No way to finagle around that, huh? It's etched in stone. President Trump cannot sign a federal law because of the states' rights issue. I think there's a lot of ways to go around. In the comments, Chris says, are you suggesting he's lying? No, when Trump promised not to sign a federal abortion ban, I'm asking, do you believe he's lying? That's what I'm suggesting he could be, but he could also be telling the truth. Going straight to the box. Appreciate you folks that are holding on. Start right off with the one and only wait a minute. Did I put up Takesha? Let me see what happened. Awesome. Let's turn over civil rights. I hope you're wrong. Moo. Good afternoon. I'm doing good. Let me hang on a second. I just realized I had my Bluetooth still going. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. So
I can hear you, man.
Yeah, so do you feel confident that Trump would not sign a federal abortion ban as he stated?
No, he'll sign that if they bring it to his desk. Absolutely, he will. Yeah. He's all about that, man. He's the one that got rid of Roe versus Wade. None of this shit needed to be happening right now, you know? You Republicans could have won a bunch of elections. You could have held on to a bunch of offices. But again, your policies are very unpopular. People don't like what you have to offer. And because of this, you're going to get slaughtered in the next election. I mean, you guys are literally going to get trampled, man. This is going to be the issue that does you guys in. It's great.
But what do you think about the notion that it's not the likes of Trump, but they just gave rights back to the state? Do you blame Trump for what's happening?
Sure, absolutely, man. You know, you didn't even have to go there, right? You could have just left it alone, because now a lot of Republicans are advertising the same rules that Roe v. Wade had in place, you know? So I think a lot of them even regret what they've done at this point. But, you know, Trump always says that bullshit states' rights shit when he doesn't want to take responsibility for something, right? I don't want to take responsibility for it, so I'm going to pretend like I'm giving it back to the states. But really, Trump has no opinion on this whatsoever. He'll sign whatever comes to his desk, and he will say about this whatever is prudent for him or politically expedient at the time. Trump would get an abortion in a heartbeat if he needed to. He would fly to a blue state, get an abortion, no problem. The dude has no core whatsoever, man.
Damn. So you basically said he's not standing on anything. He's just doing what is politically in his benefit.
No, he's full of shit on everything, my dude. He doesn't mean anything he says about anything. Other than he does actually want to attack LGBTQ people. He does actually want to attack gay people. And if a bill for a permanent and final abortion ban comes to his desk, he will sign that shit, bro. Republicans for years will tell you, oh, well, we won't do that. It's just fear-mongering. It's just fear-mongering. And then the shit that they tell you is just fear-mongering. They end up doing it. So, you know, you people better start listening, because when they say they're going to do it, they're going to do it.
So with
ban abortion if you let them.
So with this strict ass law taking place in Arizona in particular, and there's several other states that have implemented very strict laws too, like Texas and Florida, do you think Arizona is likely to remain blue, go completely blue because of this law? You think women are going to stand up?
Yeah. No. Arizona into a blue state. I mean, right? You're turning Arizona and other states into blue states. That's all you guys are doing. That's what you've accomplished. Congratulations.
So no chance that Carrie Lake, who lost running for governor, is running for senator. You don't think there's any chance Carrie Lake is going to be senator in Arizona?
She's going to get absolutely slaughtered, my dude. It's going to be one of the biggest landslides in history. She's going to get absolutely slaughtered. In general, Trump endorsed candidates don't do well to begin with, because people don't like Trump. That's why you lost the last election, because people don't like your guy. It's not that people like Biden. People just don't like Trump. And that's what's going to happen to you guys again, and I'm going to laugh at you.
Now, I do agree to some degree that there's not a lot of love for Biden. I think all the votes Biden gets are going to be, because even yourself, you admit you're not a big Biden fan. You're more progressive, but you're going to support him because of dislike of Trump.
No, I'm going to support him because he'll leave office when he's done. I don't need a dictator First of all, I'm of Jewish heritage. I don't like fascism. I'm not going to let that go into my government, right? So, no, I don't like Biden because I hate Trump. I like Biden because he will leave when he's done. He will leave without getting fake electors. He will leave without causing an insurrection at the Capitol. He'll just leave peacefully, like a normal fucking human being.
Well, some are suggesting he may not even live out his term. You think he'll be good for 4 years?
That's fine, dude. I mean, I'm totally cool with Kamala Harris taking over for a little while until the next election. I have no issue with that. Would I like someone more progressive? Sure. But again, Kamala Harris will leave office when she's done. She won't try to steal an election. She won't threaten secretaries of state in Georgia. She won't take documents from the White House and then pretend she gave them all back but didn't, etc., etc., etc.
Okay. So in regards to this whole deal going on, I want to ask you this. How do you, because some folks are suggesting there's no way Trump could ever sign a federal abortion ban because of the Constitution, and there are things in place to prevent it. Do you believe there's a way around that to institute a federal abortion ban if he wanted to do it?
There's nothing protecting abortion in the Constitution. That's a load of shit. What will protect abortion is passing a law that says abortion is the law of the land. Me personally, I don't think the government should be involved in abortion at all. I think the decision should strictly be between the doctor and the woman. No term limits, no government involvement whatsoever. The government has no fucking business being involved in my healthcare, anyone's healthcare, your healthcare. But Republicans, they have this hard-on for white replacement theory. And they want white babies. They need white babies really bad because that's the majority of their voter base, right?
Wait a minute.
What?
You're tying the abortion ban into the need for white babies. Elaborate on that.
Yes. Correct. So white people are having less children nowadays, and the black community is actually said to be the majority in the country, I believe, within the next 15 to 20 years. So white people are going to lose the majority in this country. And it scares the shit out of MAGA supporters because they are scared that black people and other minorities will do to them what the slavers did to those people. That's why they're scared of all this. That's why they want white babies. The other portion of them are religious zealots who believe in a fake God, right? They think people can come back from the dead because they're crazy. And they think their religion bans abortion. But to be honest with you, God has unalived more babies than any human could ever hope to. So I don't know where they're coming from with that because God loves offing babies. He does it all the time.
I won't touch that move. Damn. I mean, listen, the being candid, I kind of agree with what you're saying, but I won't touch that. Damn, that's hard. So I don't know where else to go after you just said some shit like that. So at the end of the day, though, you believe that in effort to create more white offspring, they're using women's bodies to produce these children against the wishes of the women themselves.
Sure, and there's a portion of them that enjoy the patriarchy, right? They want control over women. They feel that they're losing that. If women have reproductive rights, they don't have as much control over them anymore, and I have to control women, and that scares me when I have powerful women who can make their own decisions, because in reality, the vast majority of Republicans like to be ruled over by a strong man. Most of them have no spine, which is why they like people like Andrew Tate. They like people like Donald Trump, because they're not leaders. They're followers, they're cucks, right? They need a strong man to tell them what to do because they don't know what to do. They're weak people. They're not alphas. These are some of the weakest people in all of America. MAGA is like the lowest of the low, the scummiest of the scum. They're weak. They're betas.
That's 74 million people. Mo, you're telling me all MAGA are scum, the entire group of people?
Yeah, so again, if you haven't left MAGA at this point, you agree with what they say. So yeah, anybody who's still with them, is that kind of person. They want a dictator. The vast majority of them, anytime they get interviewed, say, I would rather have Trump as a dictator than Biden for president for 4 years. They're saying this, not me. They just say it outright. Most of them favor Putin at this point over our own military. These guys favor a dude who offs his political competition, right? Keeps the people of Russia impoverished, goes after LGBTQ and gay people, right? And that's why they like him, because he does everything that they fiend for. They want this kind of person in office because that's the kind of people that they are.
Wow. So based on what you just said, which is scary as hell, and I got to move it on, but the last question I want to ask you is, are there any other aspects of American life? Because this is an 1864 law we're talking about. They don't make the law of the land.
Sure.
Is there any other aspect of American life you believe the Republican Party under Trump may try to take us back to?
I mean, it's very hard to tell what he's going to do. I know he's talked about locking up his political opponents. He wants to throw children back in camps, and I'm sure he'll bring back the separation if he gets back into office. But, there's no telling what this lunatic is going to do, right? Because he thinks he can change the course of a hurricane with a marker. The guy's a legit moron, right? This election for MAGA is not about making America great again. It's about putting a guy in office who's going to go after the people I don't like, right? If Trump would start being on the side of abortion, on the side of LGBTQ, on the side of gay people, they would leave him at that point, because they don't even actually like Trump. They like the fact that he's going to go after the things that they are afraid of, that they feel is ending America, that they are scared of. That's really why they support Trump, and that's what the election is about for them. It's not about improving America.
Yeah, but you don't think there's any chance that folks want Trump in because he'll get the economy back on par, end some of these global conflicts?
Wait. Hang on. So all of Biden's numbers when it comes to the economy are better. That's a false argument on their part, because they don't believe in math. They don't believe in numbers. They can't look up statistics. Every single one of Biden's numbers when it comes to the economy is better than Trump's at this point. That's a mathematical fact. That's not even debatable anymore.
Well, some folks would suggest that they could afford groceries, they could purchase a home, the interest rates were better under Trump than Biden. Are they wrong?
Yeah, so all those things went up during the Trump presidencies. So that started during Trump. Trump was still in office when all those things went up. And the inflation comes partially from Trump, right? The tax cuts and the blowing up of the deficit. I've said this before. When you give rich people tax cuts, right, they hoard that money. They don't spend it like a middle-class person was. They hoard it. Then the Fed has to print more money, and that's why inflation goes to the inflation. Whether MAGA wants to admit that or not, I don't really give a shit.
All right.
That's what happened.
All right, Moo. Well spoken as always. Your signal's kind of breaking up. I will move it on. Always a pleasure, even though you scared the shit out of me on every broadcast.
Have a good one, man.
You too. All right, moving the program on. Wow, Moo starts it out hard, does he not? Wow. The rich create jobs by investment. Generally, you're going to get a job from a rich person. I do agree with that. But raises, benefits, all types of labor law provisions, they can also fuck you on a lot of things too. So it's not always the rich is doing great for people. Plenty of folks with jobs are barely even able to get by. So it's a double-edged sword. Looking in the comments, Jeffrey Lorenzana says caller needs meds. Moo has an interesting opinion. You may disagree with it, but he has an interesting opinion. By the way, understand, just like what you see with my last caller, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. We do allow the people to speak. We go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. So you're going to hear some far right and far left opinions on every damn show. And they will be unrestricted, uncensored, because we believe in free speech. Name Barber. Thank you for the super chat. Ironically, they don't feel like it's better. Who represents they? Who does not feel like America's better? Before I go back to the box, the question we're asking is simple. With this 1864 law becoming actual law of the land in Arizona, I'm asking the GOP, Republicans, my beloved MAGA, do you feel happy now that we've defeated Roe v. Wade? Abortion bans are becoming a law of the land in a host of states. Are you happy with Trump's victory? Because this did come by way of President Trump. Not yours truly saying it, but he's actually bragging about it. So do you feel happy with what has transpired? And for the Democrats, in regards to the same topic, we're asking the question of, do you feel concerned with an 1864 law becoming the law in 2024 again, that this could spread and maybe other laws from that time period being initiated and taking hold? Going to the box, Takesha Bowie. Good afternoon, Takesha. If the box lets you up. Good afternoon, Takesha. Hey.
Hey, did I not tell you months ago that these people are trying to take women's rights? I told you months ago, and you said, I don't think they'll take it back that far. Now look at the law that was passed yesterday.
What about the notion that they're not taking it?
Hold on, did I not tell you that?
Yeah. Something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, I know it is something like that. Go ahead with your question.
Did they, you threw me off with that, but the question I wanted to ask is, what about the notion that they're not taking women's rights away like a lot of folks claim, but rather giving the states the ability to make their own decision for their own constituents?
First of all, they not even putting it on a ballot for the people to vote on. They just getting in their little Senate and Congress houses, and they making it, they're making the choice themselves. They're not giving the people of the state the chance to vote on those bills. So they are taking away the rights because you're not giving people a choice.
Well, the people, the people elected those politicians. Are Republicans in Florida unhappy with Ron DeSantis? I mean, that is the law of the land in Florida. You don't hear them complaining about Ron DeSantis, do you?
You hear complaining about him, they just ain't gonna put it out there in the media, sweetie. He couldn't even beat Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse got everything he wanted from Ron DeSantis. It wasn't even a big headline, but if you read it, you would have saw it. And Mickey Mouse is ruling Florida. So we not even finna talk about Ron DeSantis with them white Prince boots on that he had on that day it was raining. He's no big bad wolf.
I will defend Ron DeSantis by saying he has an ace.
And Trump talked about Lindsey Graham, and in the next 10 minutes, Lindsey Graham became bent over Bobby for Trump and changed the whole thing of what he said because Trump came after him. What kind of men are these? I wouldn't sleep with them if they was hard as a brick and I was wet as a tsunami. This is getting ridiculous.
I can't even respond after you said some shit.
Let me say this, handsome.
Go ahead.
Let me say this. Donald Trump is lying. You cannot brag about Roe versus Wade, then turn around and say you agree with them leaving it to the states. You're lying. They know that it's unpopular now, so they got to do what they got to do to try to get the voters who are upset about it back by trying to act like they really want us to still have some rights. Take what's her name? That can't go with Carrie Lake.
Yeah.
Now she praised that law.
She referred to it as a great law. Yeah, I get
all of a sudden you want Katie Hobbs to do something about it. Go sit down, baby.
Yeah. My notes I wrote down, she referred to it as a great law before it was passed.
But now today, because it's very unpopular, now all of a sudden, because those women are mad in Arizona, now you want Katie Hobbs to do something about it because it ain't right. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. The only people gonna fall for that are the people who don't have common sense.
So at the end of the day, do you think Arizona's in play? You think the women gonna come out?
Oh, absolutely, man. Let me tell you something about a woman. When a woman's fed up, there ain't nothing you can do about it.
Didn't the last man to say something like that go to prison for pedophilia, though?
And where are the women? They're out.
Yeah.
Because they made sure he went. So like I said, when a woman is fed up, there is nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Coming for you. We coming for your head. Both of them.
But I got folks in the comments like Mama84 says, please don't speak for me. There's a lot of women that want those abortion bans.
Let me explain something to you. They want them until they hit their front door. Because people that really don't have a clear understanding, abortion is health care. You can lose a baby, and a DNC is considered an abortion. So what am I supposed to carry this dead baby around for 9 months, set up sepsis, and die? Abortion is health care. Every time you hear the word abortion, it doesn't mean unalive and feed it. Stop it. Go educate yourself on what abortion is and all that falls up under it, and stop acting like it's just somebody want to get rid of a baby because they had a one-night stand with a man they don't know.
Well, wait a minute. Let's be honest, Takesha. Now, I'm pro-choice. I don't have any problem admitting that, but most abortions are because of sex with somebody and decided they don't want the baby. It's not rape, incest, it's not health. Where am I getting wrong? What am I getting wrong?
There are a lot of things that fall under the word abortion. And I'm gonna ask Yazzie.
I said most.
Hold on. Yazzie is a nurse that deals with babies not viable. And she can tell you all of the things that fall under the umbrella of abortion. And it's not just unaliving a baby because you don't want it. And I want people to stop saying that. Just like Donald Trump said that you can, after a lady have a baby, they can execute a baby. That's murder. Who gonna just let you slide with that?
That was ridiculous.
Stop believing all this foolishness these people are saying.
Well, let me ask it to you simple. I want to get a true or false from you. Let me know where I'm getting it wrong. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy on up to about 30,000. I haven't asked that at all today, but certainly if you appreciate civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, you're in the right place. Feel free to tap that screen, and same on YouTube, smash that like button. True or false, Takesha? Most, not all, most abortions are had by women, whereas no one was raped. The health of the mother is not an issue. There was no case of incest. It's a woman who had unprotected sex and just simply decided she does not want the baby anymore, maybe because her and the guy broke up or something, or financial reasons. But there is none of those other issues like rape or incest even in play. True or false?
I'm not gonna use most, but you got some truth there.
Okay. All right. I'll take. You're a stubborn guess. You're a stubborn guess. I'll take that.
I wouldn't say most because I'm not those people. I don't know those folks who had abortions. So I can't say most, but I know a lot of them do have them, because they don't want the baby.
I'll rephrase it
The only thing I was saying was there are a lot of things that fall under abortion. Is not just that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. But I was going to rephrase it and say this. I do believe most people, particularly women in America, know of at least one person that had an abortion and it was not due to being raped, incest, or their health being at play. I think most women know at least one person like that.
And let me say this, Handsome. The ones that are voting against abortion, have paid for one. You better believe that.
Well said. Good comeback. And what about the president, Trump? You think he's done that too?
He paid for a couple himself. Let me say this. Even though those women don't know if he was in them or not, he's paid for some abortion.
Yeah. Well, he's on video coming out strongly in favor of choice back in the 80s and 90s. He was back when he was probably capable of getting a woman pregnant more likely. He was a strong proponent of choice. Now that he's damn near 80, and he's not hanging around Robert De Niro or Al Pacino, suddenly he's pro-life. Yeah, I get your point.
He blow whatever the way that toupee blow.
All right, so last question before I move it on. Takesha, it's good to have you back on. One question I wanted to ask is, with them implementing the law back from all the way in 1864, do you fear any other laws from that time period becoming a law of the land all of a sudden?
I do.
Like?
But I already told you that. I said, Handsome, they coming for abortion. They're going to take our rights to vote. Do you not hear the men that say things were better before women could vote? You had 2 Republican senators to say that. My thing is this. Republican men fear women when women have some power of their own. They only want, look how they did they had the lady that's from Alabama that did the rebuttal sitting in the kitchen. Because that's what they think women's supposed to be. In the kitchen and at home raising children. Mm-hmm. They don't think we should work. They don't think we should have a voice. They want us to go around with veils on, with our head down, and not speaking. And if they can get it back like that, they would.
Well, you need to talk to some of your Republican women because there's a lot of them out there,
I'm not
Takesha.
finna fool with them. I'm not finna fool with them. Because they get in bed with these men, and these men telling them when they can and cannot moan, and they obeying them. They might as well throw old baby back in the vows. Hell, so I'm not fooling with them. No. Mm-mm.
All right. Tell a woman when she can and can't moan. Damn. All right, Takesha.
Say that till I tell you to.
You're scaring me. You're scaring me. Appreciate you coming on. Just like Moo, you guys are frightening. Damn. Tell a woman when she can and cannot moan. Found you on YouTube, says Shaquille Oatmeal. Thank you. Appreciate that. Glad to have you here, by the way. She's kooky. Says, I don't know, it just moved over. Be kind to the guests. She has an opinion. We're going to go to the other side in a minute here. They want handmaids. See, the Handmaid's Tale. You talking about that movie there where, I don't know, that movie had a real interesting effect on me watching that shit. I had to turn it off. Handmaid's Tale. I did see that on Netflix. She's not lying. Wow. I chose to be home with my babies, but I also think if a woman wants to work, she should be able to. How many of you folks, now I'm expecting most of you to say no, but by way of yes or no in the comments, how many of you folks think that there is some type of plan in place to deliberately roll back the rights of females to a darker period in history? I don't, do you guys really think that that's what they're trying to do? Or is they just simply trying to protect the life of the unborn? How many of you folks believe, you know, the whole goal is to put women in the kitchen and not let them vote and not let them work? Do you guys really believe it's that bad? I'm looking in the comments and a lot of you folks are saying, yeah, wow, they don't have a good plan, but they wish they did. Well, they succeeded already, Dita. They already succeeded and got the statute overturned, Roe versus Wade. They don't need a plan. They've already won. Name Barbara. Wait till they learn how to properly market and make money off of abortions. This will never be an issue again. Don Diaper would kill for this chance. Make money. Well, you already can. Do you really want to be known as profiting from terminating pregnancies? I don't know. That wouldn't be safe. That wouldn't be safe to be known as a company or a business, because there are some businesses that were utilizing the parts, and this is dark as hell, the parts of terminated babies for medical science. That's making money off abortion. And folks were trying to literally assassinate parts of the corporation. That's not where you want to make your money. It's just not. Looking in the comments, and somebody said there already is profiteering. I do believe it, but that ain't safe. That is not. Remember Pizzagate? If you notice, because harming children is so unpopular, just like with calling a person a racist or calling a person a socialist, calling a person someone who harms children has become a way to demonize people. Drinking their blood. Folks suggested Hillary Clinton was doing that, or suggesting that President Biden is harming. I mean, people start using that now. Everybody on Epstein's flight log, they're bringing up, because you're using it to demonize people. So it's very potent. Just like calling somebody a racist or calling somebody a socialist. So I don't think anybody want to be known as a business entity or even an individual that's profiting off of the deaths of the unborn. It's just not good. Real quick before I go back to the box, and I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Get me on up to 40,000. Program is in full session. Same on YouTube. Smash that like button. This is uncensored dialogue from both sides of the aisle, or better yet, all sides of the aisle, Monday through Friday. We're here at 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. Smash that like button on YouTube. Same thing with the tapping the screen. Whoa! Gary, or was that Courtney? Wow! What was that? Wow, I seen it pop up and I want to address it. Wow, thank you very much, Gary. Wow, thank you. Couch Potato, very nice of you. Appreciate that support. ×2. Thank you for that Couch Potato. Appreciate that. That's some serious support there. Thank you. You're not all one way or offensive, says Miss Mac. No, I'm not, Miss Mary Mac. Going back to the box, all dressed in black. silver buttons down our back, and we will bring up the one and only Gary. Thank you, by the way. Asking that question, is there any, because Trump has promised not to sign a federal abortion ban. Do you believe him? You trust him?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Well, I gotta put you on I'm sitting in my car as well. Honestly, there's good and bad on both sides.
Let's talk about the good. Let's start with the good.
All right. Well, for military personnel, technically, Trump was the only one ever to go overseas to another country, especially Korea, and actually have them sit down and actually talk with them on their own, how do I put it, on their own actual land.
On their turf. But you're talking about meeting Kim Jong-un, correct?
Yes. He didn't have them come over here, where they'd be protected. He could have been the only president ever to be assassinated not on United States soil, if that would have occurred.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Didn't Biden go down the streets of the...
You gotta give man credit for that.
But hold on. If you're going to give Trump credit for going to North Korea, where you say he could be the only president assassinated, does Biden give credit for going to Ukraine on a train undercover? He went to the Ukraine with no U.S. forces in the region. Does he not get credit as well?
Well, think about it this way. It's the UK is with NATO. They signed a legislation. I think it was about 3-4 weeks ago. They're trying to do a peace treaty, and they're trying to join NATO. Even though the UK said they'd never do it, but now they're wanting to do it. That's why the United States government is sending I think it was like $480 billion so far overseas.
So what's your point? You're saying that Biden going to an active war zone, he's a guy who's sleepy, doesn't know where he's at, went to an active war zone, rode on a train undercover. You're telling me he gets no credit for that?
Well, like I said, it was, like you just said, it was a train undercover. There was only a select few that actually knew he was there. Think about it. Versus Trump did it out loud and like, hey, dude, I'm doing this. Public for everyone. I mean, if you're talking about, all sides, they didn't go.
Yeah, but Gary, hold on. North Korea is not an active war zone. President Biden is walking around rubble. It's an active war zone under attack while he's there.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's also the United States is also funding that as well.
Okay, but there was no U.S. boots on the ground to protect this guy.
There was none where Trump went either.
Okay, so they both deserve credit. Biden deserves a hell of a lot of credit for
I'm
that.
not saying they don't, but there was hostility with us in Korea. I just turned 30, and that's been like that since as far as I can remember.
Okay.
The UK and everything, and with Russia, that's completely different. I've been alive since that, but the stuff with Korea and us, that's been before I was born.
Okay. All right. Well, getting back to the conversation. Now, do you think Trump has promised he would never sign a federal abortion ban? Do you think he's telling the truth?
No.
You think he would do it?
I don't. I think he would, because he is a businessman, and the profit margins in it are way too high to say no.
Do you lean right or left politically?
I'm in the right all day long.
Okay, so are you a Trump fan, or are you like Nikki Haley, Chris Christie right?
No, I'm a Trump fan.
Okay, I just want to get clarity. There's nothing wrong with supporting Trump. I just want to make sure I know where you're at. So
that hat that you have right behind you, I got one in my car too.
Okay, fair enough. So, and thank you, Just Me, by the way, Pinche Vato Loco as well with the money gun. I did see that. Want to give you credit for that. Real quick, so you're supporting Trump. Now, I'm assuming you're a constitutionalist. How do you feel about a federal abortion ban? You think that's a good idea?
Well, with the abortion, I understand what the lady that was just on here, I understand what she was speaking upon. Like, we're not blind. We do understand it. But the thing is that with the DNA itself, you're not just killing off your portion of the DNA. You're also killing off another portion of DNA. Like, for instance, let's say the father wants the child. Let's say the father wants the child, but the mother doesn't. She has the right to go and do the abortion and kill off something that was half hers. Yes, it's and a lot of women will say, "Oh, well, I carried it for 9 months." Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I supported it for 18 years.
So you believe that a woman should not have the right to have an abortion without the father's permission? So if the father agrees with it, you're okay with it then?
If they were molested, like if they were raped or something like that, and you know, like on their wrongdoings, or not on their wrong, if not on how do I put this? Not on their wrongdoings. Now, as in, you want to go up and go fuck around and go get drunk at a bar and then go sweep around, even though you know the consequences of your actions, but yet you go up, oh, well, I'm clear, I can go get an abortion. So, therefore, you don't have to pay for your idiocracy. You don't have to pay for your poor choices. But yet, if the man does it, if the man does it and goes and, you know, two people link up, she wants to keep the kid, but he doesn't, well, where's that equality they want to preach about? Okay,
well, but the women are going, and you make a good point about the equality, but women are going to push back and say, when I got to carry the kid for 9 months while you're free to go around with no medical changes of your body, there's no equality in that. So how do you respond to women that would talk about that?
Medical changes. I have to support the kid for 18 years, which means I have to work my ass off, because it's about they said it's about $250,000 for the kid from in between where he was when he's born all the way up to like maybe when he's like 4 or 5, and the average 9 to 5 household, what, about in between 18 to 35,000 a year.
So what if the woman is pregnant and the father's out of the picture?
But isn't that his choice? Just like it would
No. Let's say she got pregnant and the father is not even around, not even trying to be with her, nothing. Should she still have to go find a guy before she have an abortion?
No.
So if there is no father in the picture, you would be okay with her being able to.
Father in the picture, then the sole proprietor will make the choice.
Okay, so you would be in favor of a woman having the right to choose if there's no dad opposing it.
If there is no significant other that is willing to take the responsibilities of it.
Wait, you changed it from father to significant other. So if a woman gets married while she's 6 months pregnant to a different dude who didn't create the child, he's her significant other. Does he have the right to prevent her from having an abortion?
If it's if it's biologically his?
No, not biologically his.
Well, then on a technicality, on a DNA standpoint, he is speaking about something that he has no recollection or rights to. Because if, let's say they're not married, all right, she is pregnant with another man's child, okay, then they go up and get married. Before she has the baby, now as soon as he goes up and signs that document stating that they're married, now he is the sole proprietor of her and whoever is with her or comes from her, correct?
So let me make sure I'm getting clarity. I hear what you're saying now. So if the woman was pregnant when they met by a different dude, she got married to him. As you say, she signed the document saying they are now married. She married a different guy. Maybe now she's 8 months pregnant with this new marriage. You're saying, well, let's say 6 months. Somebody wants to have an abortion at 8 months. Well, let's say 5 or 6 months alone. You're saying because she is married to him now, he has the right to stop her from having an abortion.
No, I think they should be adults and talk about the consequences of the actions. Because if he's going to be there with her then he's also going to be there with the child if she chooses to keep it, correct?
Does he have any, does she, you said talk about, does she have the right to override anything he wish?
Well, then men are supposed to be protectors and teachers, correct? We're supposed, so therefore, they can talk about it. But the thing is that if she goes up and says no, well, she's undermining his authority, so therefore she's not listening to her counterpart, not even taking in consideration to what her counterpart is saying. That right there just says doom for the entire relationship by itself.
Okay, fine. She's not listening. You believe it's doom. But should his desire to keep this child that she was pregnant with when he met her, when he got married to her, should he have any say-so legally?
Well, legally, on a DNA standpoint...
I'm not talking DNA. I'm talking about he got married to a woman that was pregnant when he met her. She now wants to have an abortion. He wants to keep that child. They are married. Does he have any say-so?
Well, why wouldn't he?
That's what I'm trying to get at. I
think he should, because if he's willing to say, hey, I'll take care of you and the baby and everything, and I married you. I want a family with you, you know? The baby can take my last name. I'll take care of it. Well, if he's willing to take care of it for 18 years, not just 9 months in the body, think about how, if you're a construction worker or a 9-to-5 worker, because women will go up and say, oh, there's a lot of, the baby messed up my body. I get that. I completely get that. But you don't think 18 years of hard labor for a 9-to-5 worker, that doesn't take its toll or effect on a man's body?
Yeah, I get what you're saying about the money and things like that, but this woman, pregnancy.
It's the effects of the job itself. He could be a construction worker, or he could be doing a desk job and hate his damn life. He could hate his life because he's doing a desk job and everything like that. And then let's say he committed suicide because he couldn't take it, all because of the stresses of his job, not from her, but from the job. Because there are people that are out there. They love their wife, they love their family, they love their kids, everything. But the job stresses them out so much. But the thing is, you need that job to support the woman and the family.
Wow. I don't know. This is strong. You're giving the man quite a bit of power over the woman.
Let me ask you this question.
Sure.
All right. So bacteria is life on Mars, but a heartbeat isn't life on Earth?
Bacteria is life on Mars. No, I believe a heartbeat is life on Earth.
But there's a lot of people that'll be, if I want to go and fuck around and have an abortion, I should. Like for instance, the female protesters. All right, they want to walk around with their shirts off, be like, I want to be treated like a man and not be labeled as a whore. So you want to walk around with your shirt off and not be ridiculed or looked at or any type of way. You want to work and grow up equally as a man.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Hang on. I got to push back, Gary.
You want to go and do whoever you want with no repercussions.
I got it. Gary, hold on. Hang on. You're talking about women wanting to walk around with their shirts off and not be viewed as a whore. You know how many men walk around with their shirts off? Do women view us as whores when we walk around shirtless?
Yes, they it's not whores, but hey, fuck boys. Yes, that is another form.
You think so?
Think about it. Think about it. They want to be able to do the same thing as men do, right? They want to walk around with their shirts off. They want to make equal pay, and they want to go sleep with whoever they want and not be labeled as a whore or anything, right? So are they feminists or fuckboys? Because they're trying to argue. They are trying to argue the point. I want to be this. Arguing the same exact type of male that you hate.
Wow. Okay, listen, Gary, you're certainly an interesting conversation. Your signal's breaking up, so I'm gonna have to move on. Always welcome back. You got some very unique opinions. We disagree, but that's no big deal. You can always speak your place here, so feel free to come on back. I'll give you the last word. You're breaking up, but go ahead.
I agree with you, but there's also, you also put it into perspective, because it's not just one or two things. It's never just two ends of the spectrum. There's that fine line, and you don't know how big that fine line is that brings together those two sides. There's always a silver lining, and you don't know how big that silver lining is. Okay. So if take into consideration, you will take into consideration the female's side, take into consideration of the male side, and take into consideration of the child, if it's going to be here or not. Take in all counts, not just one, not just her side, not just his side, and not just the kid's side. Take it all in at once.
I don't know, because a woman is the one that's got to bear all of this stuff in terms of her body biologically, and we're giving her an equal say when she's doing all the work. She only has a 50% say, but she's doing 100% of the work.
How is she doing 100% of work when I'm coming home, putting food on the table, making sure she's fed, making sure she's getting to her doctor's appointments, making sure the house is paid for, making sure I'm doing everything else. I'm doing my part, and she's also doing hers.
Gary, people die in childbirth. She could die. You're talking about paying rent. She could die in childbirth.
You're absolutely right, and a man could die at his construction job too, but nobody wants to think about that.
I wasn't expecting that, but I do gotta go, man. I appreciate you coming on. Anytime, doors are always open to you.
Hey, I like it, buddy. Thank you.
Absolute. And moving the program on. By the way, while his comments were controversial, which doesn't mean a damn thing here, you can say whatever you want, but he did collect some coins. There was a lot of folks in the comments that were supporting what my last guest was saying, so understand whether you agree or disagree with him. He's not the only one that feels that way. People, I see in the comments, Christo Ball said he was on point. Someone asked, which I thought was funny, but his conversation was so serious, I wanted to let him continue. And then I was hearing him breaking up over here, but anyway, someone in the comments, because he also donated to the program a couple couch potatoes. Thank you for your support. Someone in the comments said, you still want those couch potatoes? You guys are crazy. Name Barber, before I go back to the comments, super chat from Naeem, thank you. Well, an abortion ban sounds weird to combat that. What should be done is a 30-day petition to abort. DNA test can be done week 7, and if he doesn't approve, he's on child support from the time of conception. Name, I hear your point. I gotta push back. I don't believe if a woman is impregnated, anyone should be able to interfere with her choice. That's just me. Maybe I'm too damn liberal, too damn progressive on this particular issue. A lot of other issues like Biden and the border, I come across as being right-leaning. But in regards to a woman being pregnant, you don't know what's going through her mind. You don't know what she's on. I mean, listen, there may be a woman who got pregnant by sleeping with a heroin dealer. No life for the mom is in danger. She didn't get raped or any of that. She just slept with a heroin dealer. She's hooked on heroin. I don't think it's right to force her to carry a child for 9 months, knowing that she's hooked on substances. There's a whole lot of other gray areas. I'm just not a fan of forcing women to do this. There's all types of mental health issues that women undergo. Obviously, their bodies are going to be changed forever. For those 9 months while they're pregnant, they got to live a certain lifestyle, take certain foods, vitamins. I don't believe you should be able to force anybody to go through that. Here's what I don't get, and I'll go right back to the comment section. Thank you, folks who are tapping the screen, 800 plus. We should be around 60,000 if you let your thumbs and not be lazy. So feel free to smash the screen on TikTok for my YouTube viewers. Smash that like button. I never get the same participation on YouTube, but do appreciate you folks that are here. Smash that like button if you will. I think you have to hold it down a couple seconds on YouTube. But in regards to, when a woman is pregnant or whatever the case may be, I don't like it because we don't take into concern her own mentality. Like my last caller, well, what about what the dad thinks? What about what the mom thinks? What about what the mom? I mean, forcing her to carry a baby for 9 months. I don't know. I see a lot that could go wrong. And then obviously if abortion becomes illegal, then what's next? Some of these women are going to end up in prison. Some of these women are going to end up in prison. I'm not a fan of that. Naeem Barber says, I don't believe it either, but his reasoning for no abortion was dumb. Yikes. Okay. You cleared that up. Cleared that up very much. Stop making women's wounds graveyards. Damn. You think that's what abortion is? Making a woman's wound a graveyard. Wow. All right, continuing the program on. Thank you folks that are tapping the screen, getting me up to 60,000. I would appreciate that. Continuing on, Davida Bias, I think that says, good afternoon, welcome to the program. A federal abortion ban. Trump said he would never sign that. What say you? Davida, good afternoon.
Hi, how are y'all?
I'm doing good. Good to have you on. Gary, thank you. Thank you, Gary, with the Galaxy. Appreciate that. Thank you. So you've been listening in there, Davida. I'll give you the floor. What say you?
Yes, sir. I'm a Christian. I do believe in abortion at a certain level. If the mom is at risk of losing her life, the baby's risk of losing its life, or the pregnancy was enacted by an SA or a forced type of
rape and incest. Rape and incest.
Do what?
Rape and incest provisions.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. What about the example? What about the example I used, where some woman is hooked on a substance and she gets pregnant?
I agree there too. Yes.
Okay. All right.
I agree there too, because that's forced.
No, it ain't gotta be forced. Let's say she slept with some.
Well, your mind is not in your right mind, so to me that would be forced.
No.
You're not cognitively there, when you're on drugs and you're under that influence.
So, what if the woman got pregnant by a guy that she no longer likes anymore, and she's admitting she's going through all types of... You got a loud background, by the way. I don't know if you can hear... If a television or something is on, your background's really loud.
No, let me turn that off, sorry. But, say that again?
Okay. What if the mom... You still got a very loud background. I'm hearing something in...
Turning it off.
Yeah, your background is very loud.
Go ahead.
What if the mom is going through mental health issues in regards to the child? Maybe she's been impregnated by some guy that cheated on her or something, and she really, really does not want to keep his child. You said she should be forced to do it anyway?
Well, there's the thing of adoption too. You don't always have to result to unaliving a child.
Yeah, but let's say she's going to consider adoption. Who covers all the expenses in regards to this pregnancy that she's being forced to continue?
Good question. There's a lot of Christians out there and a lot of people that can't be pregnant, and there's a lot of people that want babies,
Davida, I don't hear these people standing up. I hear what you're saying. There's Christians out there. I don't hear the Catholic, Lutheran churches or anyone stepping up and saying, we're ready to help out moms that are having babies now. I'm not hearing them. Where they at?
Well, actually, we have some here in Bay St. Louis.
We don't need... We're talking...
In Bay St. Louis, Mississippi.
You think there's enough to cover all these people?
No, not a lot. But if, we made it more popular and put it out there that, we do exist, there might be more voices out there for the babies,
Yeah, I don't disagree that some people may be willing to step in, but at the end of the day, for instance, minority children are known not to adopt very well. I mean, if folks who have money, more white families, tend to want white babies, wealthier white people do, and same thing with black families, they tend to want black babies.
Yes, sir.
So
I understand. I'm going through that right now. My sister-in-law, she was on drugs, and she laid with a man that is black and or African American. We're in the midst of wanting to adopt that child right now because he's in foster care.
Okay.
We've only seen him twice, but she also has another daughter that she had with another man that is fully white, and we're trying to adopt her too. So yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I was also a foster child from 9 years old till I was 21 in the state of Louisiana. So I know there's a lot of kids out there that don't have homes. I know a lot of kids that are not loved. I know a lot of teenagers that don't get adopted because of their age, because, you know, they're already molded.
So even while abortion is legal, or was legal until a few years ago, there was still a ton of unadopted kids and children in foster care. So even when abortion was legal and you could terminate the life of a pregnancy in all 50 states, there were not enough people stepping up to adopt these children and get them out of foster care. Now that abortion is illegal in a host of states, you really think there's enough people to help make a difference?
I think there's a line. In this is my opinion. There's a line for the adoption, for the abortion, is after that baby is a certain age in the womb, they shouldn't be able to unalive that child.
Give me a number. How far along in pregnancy?
Oh shoot. Probably as soon as you're about showing, I guess, when you know darn well you're pregnant. You know?
But that changes depending on the person. That could be anything.
Well, a lot of people know when you're pregnant, you know, and you know, you go through the morning sickness.
Yeah, but that's not. But Davita, that's not a number. Okay, what if she ain't showing, but she's 7 months pregnant?
Oh no.
Give me a number. That's what I'm asking.
No.
Give me a number.
4, 8, 12, about 3 months, about 12 weeks.
Okay, so 12-week abortion, man. That's because Florida recently passed one at 6 weeks. That's pretty strict. 12 weeks.
Yes, I didn't even know I was pregnant with all my kids till I was after 7 weeks. You know, my body didn't start acting crazy until after 7. So, you know. So let
me ask you this in regards to the way the country is going with Trump rolling back Roe v. Wade thanks to his 3 Supreme Court justices, and you being pro-life, for instance. Are you happy with the abortion bans that are now permeating the United States?
Well, I thought that it was already made that it was only because of medical reasons for the baby, the mom, or SA.
Now, some places don't even care about SA and medical reasons. Texas, for instance, we talked about Kate Cox, who baby had a chromosome disorder, 95% chance the baby wouldn't live, and they wanted her to have that.
That's one of my main problems is if the baby is not going to have that full quality of life at birth, then that's another line, you know.
So when Trump suggested he would never pass a federal abortion ban, do you think he's telling the truth?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Now, I had another caller say that he disagreed because Trump is a businessman. Some people are saying that Trump is doing whatever is politically expedient, but you do believe he would never do that. It's all about returning rights to the states.
I don't believe he'd never do it because you can't really trust everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe that he's got a good heart. You know, I think he's trying to do what's best for the country.
Right.
But a lot of people are stepping on his toes.
Well, when you're telling women what to do with their bodies, you should put your big toe in some steel toe boots. People are going to step on it. I got to move on, though, Davita. Last word on you.
I totally agree.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you coming through. Come on back anytime.
Thank you so much. much. You have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
It's a pleasure. Looking in the comments, Trump cannot be trusted, period, says Billy Wap. You think Trump is completely untrustworthy, huh? He promised to roll back Roe v. Wade. He delivered on that promise. I don't know. I don't think he's completely untrustworthy. She's a mother, shaking my head. Wow. Yes, she was. Supreme Court said they wouldn't take away abortion rights, but they did. That is true. And if I'm correct, interpreting that statement, it's basically suggesting they don't already made a bunch of promises that they didn't live up to. So it sounds like what I'm interpreting your statement is, if they can lie in the Supreme Court and roll back Roe v. Wade, knowing that they were going to do it from day one, then Trump can lie about rolling back a federal abortion. So I get where you're going with that. Ask callers, how many of them had abortions? Ain't nobody going to tell you that shit. Why not put up how much you're making while you're at it and your social security number? Nobody's going. Some folks may go into that, but I don't want to go that personal to ask somebody if they had an abortion before in a heated discussion about abortion, where some people think it's murder. You know, I mean, what's next? Did you ever abuse a child? I mean, you can't. Nobody's going to answer that. Looking in the comments, I think. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Well, no, I'm right. No, I'm not. Juice in the comments. I thought this was a sincere comment, but until I read it fully. He said, I had 2 abortions today. So there you go. I think it should be left to the power of the states, says Fear Freak. Before I go back to the box, here's the issue I have with the suggestion that we're giving rights back to the states. Someone brought this up earlier. I think it was either Moo or Takesha. By the way, tap the screen. Let's go right on up to 80,000. We got about 600 plus of you in here. It's not necessarily a fun topic. A lot of folks are passionate about this. A lot of folks don't want to hear about it, particularly on the right. So the numbers are a little bit lower, but tap the screen. It does help out the algorithm. Get me on up to 80,000. I don't think we'll do 100,000 a day simply because of the topic, but in regards to it should be left up to the states. One of the arguments that's being brought up is it really states' rights when the people of the state are not allowed to vote on it? I mean, if your politicians in your state, let's say the liberals get a supermajority or they do what Trump did and all of a sudden we're going to return gun rights to the states. And all of a sudden, you got, Chuck Schumer in your state or Nancy Pelosi or some liberal, and they take away your gun rights, but they don't let you in that state vote on it. Is that really states' rights? None of the states, by the way, not a single one of these states that has rolled back abortion rights did it by way of the people actually voting for it. In every case, every single case, 100%. It was a handful of politicians that did it all on their own. Not one of these states that have abortion bans came by way of the people in that state. So is it really states' rights, or did we take it out of the hands of the federal government and put it in the hands of people we knew would ban abortion? It's just, you literally took it out of the power of one government at the federal level and handed it to other government officials. It's still being done by the government. They just are government officials you might agree with in terms of their right wing now. So looking in the comments, I'm pro-life Californian. Pre-existing laws in California, I think, are enough to be left as, and I don't quite get your comment there, Fear Freak. Pass the buck. Around 80% of Americans don't want a total ban. I believe that's true. These bills are not the will of the people. I believe if you allowed the people to vote on abortion, it would be legal to some degree in all 50 states. Certainly in those states that are not even putting provisions in place for rape or incest, I don't think there's any state in the union that if you gave the power to the people to actually vote would say that overwhelmingly we want a woman to be forced to have a kid even if she's raped. I don't think they would win anywhere on that. So any state that's doing that is going against the will of their own residents. Naeem says, I've paid for 3 Last one came with a Dyson. Whoa, that's cruel. You paid for 3 abortions, and the last one came with a Dyson. I'm not even going to explain what a Dyson is. I assume all you guys already know. Brian Smith, that's cruel name. Thank you for the super chat, but damn. Ew. Going back to the box, what God said about it. Did God say anything about abortion? Did God really say? Brian Smith, good afternoon. Brian, hey, so what do you think? A federal abortion ban, is that even possible?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that it would be. I don't think it would behoove him to go through with something like that. And I think that the fact that they're even talking about stuff like that is political. It's not. It's not a good thing for them to do. Trying to,
What about what we have right now? Do you think this has been beneficial to have Roe v. Wade rolled back?
I think it's worth talking about, and I think that there are certain people that believe that it was implemented incorrectly. But sometimes you go ahead and pass policies. At that point in time, thinking, we'll just deal with it later, and I think that was probably the situation with Roe v. Wade.
So politically, if you will, which way do you lean? Do you lean right, left?
I would consider myself an independent, but if I were leaning one way, it would probably be more right than left. I'm more I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm pro legal immigration. There's a lot of things.
Who did you vote for in 2020? Trump versus Biden?
I didn't vote in 2020.
2016, Trump versus Hillary Clinton?
I voted for Trump.
Okay. Why didn't you vote in 2020, if you will? Any reason?
Because it's, I realized the landscape here in my state, in Maryland, and it was futile. It wasn't going to make much of a difference. Now, if I were in a swing state like Florida or Virginia or somewhere where it actually would matter, then maybe I would have done it. But it was more so that it wasn't going to have much of an impact.
Okay, so what about this coming November? Do you plan to vote?
I don't know. Maybe it depends on what's going on.
How much do you? Wait a minute. It depends on what's going on. How much more do you need to know? You got folks coming across the border illegally. You mentioned your stance on the border. You see what the economy like. They don't roll back Roe v. Wade. How much more do you need to see?
Yeah, but to be honest with you, my vote will more or less depend on how I'm feeling at that time.
How do you feel right now, Brian?
I'm pissed off at the state of the country right now. I'm not happy where things are, and I think we could be doing a lot better.
So if you had to cast a vote today, and saying no was not an option, where would your vote go?
It would go more likely with Trump.
Okay. And you think there's a possibility that may go to Biden between now and November?
Negative.
All right, then. So
I wouldn't get the vote no matter what.
All right, so
it
let's
doesn't matter whether or not I thought it was worth my time to actually go through with it. When I'm voting, it's going to be for my own personal benefit. I like you and I like a lot of other people out there, but I'm not doing it for them. I'm voting for my own personal benefit, whether that means that, let's say, I won't take that back. I won't say that I would never vote for Biden. Now, if, for instance, he were to make some bill that say, black guys are going to get free property and free tax for the rest not have to pay tax and get $1 million a year for the rest of their life, I'm going to do that, even though I would disagree with that, and I wouldn't want that to be a thing. I would vote for him because that's what I would want, because it would benefit me personally. So
you would vote for Biden if he gave reparations, but you wouldn't agree with the reparations.
Exactly. I know it sounds stupid.
It does.
But I'm just being real with you.
Okay, I've never heard of that type of a stance before.
If it's going to happen anyway, why wouldn't I take advantage of it? I don't agree that it should be done, But if it's going to happen, whether I'm doing it or not, why am I going to look at everybody else?
Well, the answer is because maybe you have morals. Just a good example. If I see them passing laws that allow me as a man to have power and privilege over a woman, it's something I'd benefit from, but I'm not going to vote for that. I don't want that. I wouldn't vote just because I'm benefiting. If you don't think reparations are right, you shouldn't vote for it.
Those will be two different situations. If
How?
it's something that's morally right, like, you know, good versus evil type thing, then yeah. I mean, if they're saying, well, you have the ability to old people. Now, I'm not going to go out and doing that just because I have the right to do it now. I mean, but if it's something that's not going to hurt, you know, anybody, well, yeah, why not take advantage of it? I don't.
Okay.
But,
So then let me ask you: are you happy with Trump's success in rolling back Roe v. Wade?
it didn't affect me one way or another with that. What I will say, my opinion on that perspective is I'm more pro-life than I am anything else. But here's a problem I have with it. Like, I just wish they were more consistent. You understand what I'm saying? Let's say there's a pregnant woman, right? And she's 3 months pregnant, and I get in an argument with her, and I don't even want to use myself because I would never do it. But let's say someone else were to get in an argument with her, and they will push her down a flight of stairs, right? She loses the pregnancy. And there are certain states where they would actually charge that person with murder. You understand what I'm saying? For the loss of the life of that child.
Right.
So either just be consistent. Either it's a life, or how can it be?
That isn't, you know, something. Even though I'm 100% pro-choice, probably 1,000% pro-choice, but that is a really good argument that is worth discussing. If you don't believe it's a life, because a lot of moms, even pro-choice moms, believe that if somebody else takes the life of her unborn child, they should be charged with murder. That's a really good argument.
Consistent. That's what I'm saying. Either it's a life or it's not. If at that point that person is going to get charged with murder, how can the female, with all due respect, having her ability to choose and whatnot, how can she at that same point in the pregnancy decide, you know what, it doesn't look good financially for me right now, I've changed my mind, and then go terminate the same pregnancy? Either it's a life at that point or it's not. Just be consistent. That's all I'm saying about that.
I could probably come up with a host of things in this country where we've said the same thing and we're not consistent, such as, you know, I'm pro law enforcement, and then on January 6th, they're all of a sudden hostages. But I get your point about the consistency. Somebody on the name on the YouTube side of the program has an independent ever said they lean left? Because you said you're an independent, and I gotta agree with it. I've never heard of an independent that leans left. Everybody who says they're independent generally vote Republican, so I've never heard of that. I got to move it on to Brian.
I'm actually a registered Democrat. Before I got into the voting and all that stuff, I was told that since I'm black, I'm supposed to vote Democrat.
Who told you that? Who told you that?
My family, my aunts, my brothers, my cousins, my mom.
Why do you think black people would tell you something like that?
Because that's what they were told.
Why do you think they were told that?
Because the people before them were
all
told
right,
that.
well, you know, which means, listen, hold on, hang on. We know the Democratic Party, if you go back far enough, were pro-slavery. So why in 2024 are, as you mentioned, generations of your own family, black, suggesting you vote Democrat? Why do you think that is?
I can tell you why I believe that. Is because they make it seem that way on TV. They want to give the benefits and stuff like that. It's a long topic that can't be really narrowed down. We
can do a little bit of narrowing. You saying your family started voting Democrat for welfare benefits?
Yeah, from welfare benefits, so on and so forth. The Republicans, they're against these kind of programs, and so they're not for you. But they only do that so they can remain in power. If they really wanted to help you, then they wouldn't threatened if you got out of that situation. If you really started improvement, now you're no longer eligible for it. So
do you see the Republican Party? You mentioned the Democrats using welfare as power to keep in power. Do you see the Republican Party perhaps maybe doing more for black people?
do I see them doing? No.
Okay. All right. So one group.
I don't know if it necessarily with them is a color thing. I think it's more of a class thing. I think that they have benefits for people who are trying to actually help themselves. They're pro small business and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really see it as them saying, "Oh, we're going to help white people or we're going to help black people." Or
then what does Trump mean when he says he's done more for black people? What is he talking about then?
I think he specifically done things that would be perceived as helping black people. I mean, because he wants to cater to that particular group to get those votes. He knows that they typically would vote for Democrats, and he wants to pinch off a little bit of that.
You started out by telling me your family. Generations of your family voted Democrat because the Democrats were paying to them with welfare. And then when I ask you what did Trump do, you're basically saying that Trump is also pandering to black people in the same manner.
Yeah, but ain't nobody buying that.
No, I agree, but I wanted to make sure I got clear. All right. Okay, all right, you cleared it up. I got to move it on, O'Brien.
One quick.
Real quick.
I've been listening a long time. The immunity thing. I was just curious, really quickly, how you felt about Trump and the immunity thing. Basically, my opinion was if the presidents can give, damn it, I'm messing it up, but basically they can. That's the word I'm looking for. They can pardon other people, and they can actually pardon themselves. Why wouldn't they have the immunity? If for instance, everybody keep using the SEAL Team 6 thing. I mean, it's kind of silly because just because if he were to give an order, don't mean that people have to actually follow an illegal order. Just because he say go do it.
All right, so what's your question? I got to move it. What's your question, though?
So the question is, do you think that he actually should have not just him, but any president should have immunity if they have the ability to just tell SEAL Team 6 and then pardon them? Why wouldn't they be able to pardon themselves?
Okay, I get your point. I'll drop you, but I'll respond on the other side. Appreciate you coming in, Brian. Thank you. Now, real quick in regards to his comment, no, I don't think president should have immunity for anything. I believe the president should have immunity for acting on behalf of this country. For instance, let's take with Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu is being accused of committing war crimes for Israel on behalf of defending what happened on October 7th in Israel at the hands of Hamas. Innocent folks have died at the hands of Israel and under order of Netanyahu. I believe a president in a situation like Netanyahu is, you should be granted immunity, even though what he's doing, in my opinion, is damn near genocide. It is on behalf of his country. And there are people in the country that believe you need to get rid of these people because they keep attacking us. We can debate the whole Israel-Hamas-Palestine event, but I'm just saying that he is acting on behalf of the country. He may be going above and beyond, but he's acting on behalf of the country. I don't see President Trump's claims for immunity in a similar fashion because January 6th is where he's claiming some of this immunity from. And when you got your entire administration admitting they told you lost, at that point, you're not acting on behalf of the country because the argument is, I believe the election was stolen. We had a protest trying to protect democracy, stop the steal, whatever you want to call it. I was acting on behalf of the democracy for this country, the argument. But when your entire administration, including your top cop, your vice president, and all of the people you would hire to look into it, all came back and told you, sir, this is not true, and you did it anyway, that's in my opinion. I know a lot of you folks disagree, my beloved MAGA, of course, but everyone on your administration is coming forward. January 6th hearings committee. You got Mark Meadows now pleading immunity. You got Attorney General Barr. They all coming forward and saying, we told him he lost. So that's different. That's different than George W. Bush, 9/11, or the example I use of Netanyahu. I think what happened on January 6th was the refusal to accept, I didn't win. I didn't win. I mentioned it before. Every Republican governor in this country suggested Trump lost. I don't know of any Republican senator that doesn't suggest he lost. I mentioned his whole administration, including his vice president, says he lost. How am I supposed to tell all of those folks they're wrong and he's right? I know folks saw things that they want to question. I fell asleep, he was winning. I woke up, he's losing. Ballot harvesting, mailboxes, all of that. There are people with power that can look into all of this. They did. And they came back and said it was unfounded. They're all lying. Every one of them. I have a hard time with it. I don't have the ability to look into voting accuracy or any of that. Mostly, I'm assuming none of you do either. But people who do said this stuff was unfounded. And they're not all liberals. They're not all Republicans. They're not all independent. They're from every side of the aisle. Every side of the aisle. Judges that Trump appointed, judges that maybe Obama appointed, all over the place, in unison, saying that this didn't happen. They're all wrong, and he's right. That's hard for me. Listen, if everybody told me my mama was a criminal, at some point I'm like, Mom, you need to talk to me. I can't believe you over every damn body. The dude at church told me you stole some shit. At some point, it becomes overwhelming. And that's where I stand on it. Now, a lot of you folks disagree. You know I don't ever block, ban, or censor anyone for doing so. You have the right to do that on the program any day, all day. Going back to the box, real quick on the super chat. Big Rooster, I meant to acknowledge your super chat. Thank you. Tim, people need to be mad at something or someone nowadays. And this guy is a perfect example in reference to my last caller. Who was he mad at, though? Who was he mad at? I'd be curious to know that. The guest was the worst ever, says Truth is Irony. Yikes. Going back to the box, you guys are tapping the screen. Thank you. Getting close to 100,000 or so. Thank you very much. Continuing on, Mad Ass Yellow Boy. All right. All right. Good afternoon, Mad Ass Yellow Boy. How are you there?
Hello, man. How's it going?
It's going good. I saw you in there for a minute, so obviously you've been listening in. The floor is yours. Mad Ass, let me hear from you.
All right. Yeah, I think that women should have the choice to pick whenever they want to have an abortion.
Wait. You said whenever, 8th month, 7th, 8th, 9th month?
Yeah, people going to talk about, like, well, 8 months out, that's out of hand. I really say 5 months half a term,
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Then we can that's real talk, like, that could be like a maximum or.
I'll let you continue, but let me interrupt by saying this. There is no large amount of women that are trying to have these late-term abortions anyway. It's used as a wedge to create, like you got Trump and DeSantis suggesting that women want to have post-9th month abortions, which that's outright murder at that point. You done already cut the damn cord. So, but I did want to ask you that because you made that statement, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just believe that as a man, because we putting it in terms, like I heard a guy on there, and I believe a lot of MAGA people, I'm not a Trump supporter, that they believe that I'm a man and they gotta, juggle around. As a man, your duty as a man is to guide. You're a leader. You know what I'm saying? Protect. That's what it's not to tell. We don't own our kids. We don't own nobody. So a woman, you please do whatever you want. Now after this abortion, I'm gonna have these pamphlets to help you through your times of regret. I'm gonna help you through your times of we all make mistakes, bro. Just because you smoke crack and you went to rehab when you was 20, doesn't mean that you can be successful.
But wait a minute, you're saying mistakes. I'm gonna tell you how the counterpoint is gonna be. This is not a mistake. This is murder. You're talking about a life. You don't take somebody's life in reference to correcting a mistake. How do you respond to that?
Well, you know, a life, you got to live it. And if they're not outside that womb yet, they ain't live life. They ain't open them eyes. They ain't breathe air. They ain't taste that flavor yet. That soul ain't get tainted from that yet. So let that life be recycled or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever everybody's belief is. But killing a tadpole, to me, is not... it never had a chance.
You said killing a tadpole? Oh my God.
I mean, we waste that on napkins a lot.
Oh my
God. Come on now. Are we going to jail? Are we going to get on ourselves for doing that? Can we get on ourselves then?
Well, let me make it clear to you. In my humble opinion, this is an anti-women's law. They ain't gonna punish the guy no matter what the hell he does. This is about women.
I know. Yeah,
it's about women.
It's about some old gunslinging who's bigger thing that's going on in the country.
So let me ask it to you this way. Now, this law in Arizona that they've made the law of the land, this is a law that was started in 1864. So they don't made a law in 2024, basically reinstated the law from the 1860s. Do you believe there's a possibility that any other law from the 1800s could become law again?
Yeah, I do. You know, it's the repeat thing of history and stuff where, you know, like people now thinking women speaking and they're blaming all our problems just on women. And so they will probably try to keep attacking that, you know, just to gain some kind of control of their own self. That's what's going on.
So if you're saying they're blaming all our problems on women, if that's true, that's a strong statement. If that's true, you believe women are in trouble.
All right, so say this. That dude said, you know, people gotta be mad always. Well, somebody always gotta take the blame. So black people for a while was the blame getters, you know. Now you can't do that. That's not right. You know what I'm saying? So everybody gotta, you know, not say the N word and gotta. So now they going back at the women. Come here, and that's what's going on.
Wow. So, and based on what you're saying, I'm just going to make sure I get clarity in this. If, in your opinion, any woman that votes this way is voting against their own self-interest.
Oh yeah, she's definitely going against what she's about.
There's a lot of female MAGA out there. What say you?
There's a lot out there. They like to follow, and that's real. That's the real thing. And you said it yourself, the dictator thing. Yeah, man, they like to follow, man. Cattle, you know, it's a thing for them. You see it.
Wow.
Nobody has everything. Listen, I'm gonna say this. I watch a show a couple times. I check it out from here and there, and everything we talk about, man, people say we copycat people. That's what we are. And the last guy that was on there was saying about like why the Democrat thing, like why he don't even know why black people vote Democrat. Well, in the 60s, guess what? They was for the civil rights, and so it's passed down from there. Ronald Reagan and them made it you know, drew that line extra too, like we are the rich. Get on this side is Republican.
Yeah, you know, he did. And the one thing I wanted to point out from two standpoints, because there is a lot of folks, as opposed to suggesting a party switch took place, believe that Lyndon B. Johnson, by giving out welfare benefits and all of that, is why black people vote Democrat. In my opinion, there's two issues to discuss there. First of all, one being that black people must be dumb if they're going to let welfare benefits from the 60s still dictate how they vote in 2024. So the first comment is that anyone suggesting that is basically saying that black people are dumb. They're not very smart. You're still letting Lyndon Johnson, the dude that's been dead for 50 years, control how you vote today. That's the first issue. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think somebody on maybe there was a little racist came up with that, and people ran with it.
Yeah. And the second issue I often bring up, that if you believe Lyndon Johnson still, you know, like I say, the guy's been dead for 50 years, but if Lyndon Johnson can sway the Democratic vote based on welfare, because he gave black people welfare, isn't that kind of admitting that the other side of the aisle didn't do shit for black people? If all it took was a little bit of welfare to get their vote, that means you're really giving them nothing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I just thought, you know, the world's crazy right now. We can all admit that, and it's sad. But the Trump people are easily, for me, I watch it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I voted when I was like 18. I'm 40 right now. I'm not gonna probably vote in the future or whatnot anymore. And it's sad that the loudest guy in the room is the popular guy. Like we handled that in 3rd grade, man. And it's sad that it's where the country's at right now. So,
wow.
I gotta go, man, and I just want to say, you keep doing your thing, bro.
Appreciate you coming through, mad ass. Come on back anytime. Real quick in the comments, someone stated, nice guy 1515 said, if you throw the poor people a bone and let them live off the government, they will do it. Now, this is in reference to why black people vote Democrat, suggesting that somebody threw black people a bone and allowed them to live off the government. So black people vote Democrat because Democrats give them a bone and allow them to live off the government, which is what I stated to my last caller. First of all, you're basically saying that most black voters live off the government because they're getting welfare. Now, I'm assuming you don't realize that that is fairly insulting to all of the blacks that go to work every day. But just want to go with that first point. And then the second half is in regards to your statement, if you throw the poor people a bone and let them live off the government, they will do it. If you're suggesting that's what the Democratic Party has done, that means you would also suggest the Republican Party didn't even throw them a bone. Just taking your own statement and going with it from two different directions. If all it took was a little bit of welfare, as you say, throwing them a bone to get them to vote Democrat, that means the other side was not even throwing them a bone. Just going with what you said. Look at it in the comments. I thought welfare was for farmers back in the day. Says, let me just make this clear. Anybody black knows lots of black people that work. I really hate the notion, and I'm trying not to use the R word because that's exactly what it is, but the notion that black people don't work as a whole, they're just all sitting around collecting welfare. You think a lot of states, because a lot of black people are in the South, a lot of black people still down in the South. After all, that's where they came in at. You think the southern states would just allow black people to be sitting around like that? I mean, that's where a large portion of us still remain. They're not sitting around living off the state. I'll tell you that right off the bat. They're not giving enough money to do that in most places. It's. Let me just soften it up by saying people who view it that way have a low opinion of black people. I just say that because I believe the numbers suggest that there are far more white people on welfare than there are black. But if you have this mindset, you're looking at someone right now. I work every damn day. I don't vote one way or another because of welfare. But let me also give it to you this way. Before I go back to the box, and thank you folks for tapping the screen. Might be to get up to 120. You guys have been great. Tap the screen, show your boy some appreciation on YouTube. Smash that like button. In regards to blacks voting one way because of welfare, let me just say this. I say this all the time. It doesn't matter if the black person is a high school dropout or a damn rocket scientist. Homeless without a pot to piss in, or a billionaire like the likes of Tyler Perry or Oprah Winfrey or LeBron James or somebody. Every single group of black people vote overwhelmingly Democrat. You think Tyler Perry's getting welfare? You think Oprah Winfrey's living off food stamps? Every single group. You go find me in a group of educated blacks, a group of homeless blacks, a group of rich blacks, a group of poor blacks. Every single group overwhelmingly votes Democrat. So understand there has to be more at play than just Lyndon B. Johnson giving them welfare. There's more to that. You go get a bunch of black doctors, a bunch of black HBCU graduates. They're not graduating from college to get food stamps. There's more at play. In my humble opinion, it sounds better to suggest that it's welfare, because if it's not welfare, then you have to understand there is something about our party that's making them avoid us. If you have to really look into it, there's something going on here that every group is avoiding us. But if you don't want to tackle that and figure out what's going on, then let's just blame it on the media. Let's just blame it on welfare. It makes it easier. But blaming Lyndon B. Johnson, who's been dead for a half a century, that makes sense. Does that really make sense? We went from, you could barely go to college, to black people graduating from college every damn day. You could barely have any generational wealth, to a bunch of folks in the African American community that have a decent life. Many of them are millionaires now, but yet they're still voting the same damn way. Nothing else. We're going to still go with Lyndon Johnson 50 years later. I'm not trying to bash either party or support another party. I'm just saying that if that makes sense to you, you're taking the easy way out. There is something else about these parties that's making people make decisions that doesn't involve a dead politician from a half a damn century ago. Think about that. Looking in the comments, look at the non-diversity of the Republican. That's what I'm saying. There's something causing that. It's not Lyndon B. Johnson. I went to a Trump rally about 4 months ago. Nobody discussed Lyndon B. Johnson. I went to an Obama gathering back in 2012 when he was running for re-election. Lyndon B. Johnson didn't come up. That's hilarious in my opinion. That really is. Joseph Kuhn, welfare doesn't distribute wealth to the poor. Welfare distributes wealth through the poor to corporations. You keep adding laws, and the wealth disparity gets larger. I don't know if the wealth disparity would stop if you left it up to the free market. Let's say you got rid of welfare completely. Let's say you took the right-wing route and you got rid of government oversight, reduced the amount of regulations. Wealth disparity is going to still continue. You know why we have wealth disparity in this country? Because the wealthy do whatever they can to continue making that disparity grow. Without government oversight, it's going to get bigger. Monopolies, you're going to have folks not wanting to pay overtime, minimum wage would never go. I mean, so there's a lot of other factors at play. But I want to go back to the actual topic. You went to a Trump rally, says Bees in the Trade. Yeah, I did. I like politics. I lean left politically on a lot of subjects, but I'm not opposed to everything about Trump. I mean, there's things about Trump I want to find out, how people feel. So I went to a Trump rally. I did interviews with people. I talked to folks. I went to a Trump rally. Yeah, I believe in speaking to both sides of the aisle. That's why we run the program this way. Never viewed it as my program. Hell, it's not your program. It's our program. Uncensored. That's why I do it. And yeah, I don't have a problem being in right-wing circles at all. Going back to the box, or maybe going back to, the box. That's what it's called. Saint, that says Nicoloma. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Saint.
I just wanted to say, for one, I'm a father of an aborted child. At the age of 18, we were quite young, and we actually discussed it. And in the end, I was given no choice. I told her, I said, I would gladly raise the child on my own, if she didn't want the child. But, I mean, honestly, I went into a 5-year depression over it. And,
do you believe the law should have forced her to have your child?
No, I don't.
Would you have support? If a politician came to you and told you, vote for me and I will make her have your child, would you have supported him?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. So you are pro-choice.
Jordan, yeah, I guess I could say that. Definitely in the situations of rape, mental health, the mother's life at stake, yes. But I don't know. To this day, I still have a little bit of a problem with it due to my situation.
And I can totally understand it. If you are a man and you're about to have your first child, or just a child you really want, and a woman just terminates the life of that child, I can see where it would be devastating for the guy. But I don't know if your child is any better off forcing that mom to carry an unwanted child to birth. Yeah. So now Trump is promising that he would never pass a federal abortion ban. Do you feel confident he's telling the truth?
I hope he is. I really do.
Do you believe him?
I don't know. I'm not a MAGA. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it comes down to voting for Biden or Trump, I'm going to vote for Trump. But I'm going to vote for Trump whether he runs against whoever. Now, if there's a out there, I'm going to vote for him. You know.
Well, in regards to you saying you're not going to back Trump no matter what if he ran against a better candidate, does any of the stuff Trump is facing, could any of that sway your vote at all? In other words, if he's found to be a felon or found guilty of a crime, would any of that mean anything to you?
Well, in this situation, and I'm going to put it to you this way. This is how I feel about it. Voting for Biden because you don't like Trump is like eating dog shit because you don't like Jell-O.
Okay, but that didn't answer my question. That was funny, but that didn't answer my question.
I would probably still vote for him right now under the circumstances of Trump and Biden, yes.
So if a court of law found him guilty for trying to steal the election, would you still vote for him?
I really can't answer that question because I don't know right now.
Why can't you answer that? Do you believe in democracy?
Well, of course. I guess what I'm trying to say is until he's found guilty, I really can't answer that question.
But I asked you I'm asking you ahead. So if he was found guilty, right now you don't know if you would disqualify him. You'd actually have to be in that. You would have to be in that event.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I mean, I want to see the evidence of it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, would you believe the evidence though?
As of right now, it would really be hard because all the political bullshit. I mean, honestly, why did they wait until he said, hey, I'm going to run to bring up these charges?
Well, you got to cross your T's and dot your I's. I mean, you don't rush in to charge the former president of the United States. It takes time for that.
Okay, but 3 years?
Well, Trump is still saying he won the election 3 years later. How do you feel about that?
I'm going to go with, he's not our president now, so obviously he didn't win.
Well, you believe he actually lost in 2020?
I can't really say either way. Like I said, he's not our president now, so I'm going to go with the fact that he lost.
Okay. Well, why can't you say either way? What do you mean by that?
Do I believe there was a little bit of, I mean, I feel like there may have been some election fraud maybe on both sides even, you know?
Well, let me present it to you this way. I asked you if he was convicted of trying to steal the election, would you still vote for him? You said I would have to see the evidence. Now I'm asking you about whether he won or not. You've made a decision that it looked kind of shaky. Have you seen any evidence?
No.
Okay, so you can't make a decision without seeing evidence then.
I guess what you're saying, you're right.
Okay. All right, I'm just trying to make sure I get clarity. Okay, so, but you do see Trump as a much better leader for this country than Biden.
Yes, I do.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I will move on saying, if I do appreciate you holding on there. Hopefully you're right. We don't get a federal abortion ban. Nevertheless, we will see. Before I let you go, though, real quick, one question. What happened in your opinion on January 6th?
January 6th?
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of Soros-paid idiots that were there that were bad. It was any Republicans that were involved in the violence that went on. I think the Republicans were trying to have a peaceful protest, and these Antifa, again, Soros-paid idiots, are the ones that did all this crap.
Okay. And do you need to see evidence of that? You mentioned evidence. Did you see any evidence that they were Antifa?
When there are buses in parking lots, that tells me something.
Any idea why President Trump is not suggesting that it was Antifa? Why he hasn't said that?
I don't think he wants to put a finger on it. I think he knows that it was Antifa. Because it may hurt him in the end.
You think Trump is trying to protect Antifa, is that right?
No, not protect him. I think he just doesn't want to say for his own purposes.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna move it on. Saying your signal is going in and out. Appreciate you coming through. We may have a difference of opinion, but nobody gives a damn. Come on back anytime, man. Thank you.
Man, I appreciate it. You run one of the most unbiased programs I know.
I could not do it without you, so come on back anytime, man. All right, moving the program on. Real quick on the YouTube side, wanted to respond to Joseph Kuhn, stated in 2017, Blackstone secured a $1 billion taxpayer-backed loan guaranteed to give them lower interest rates, which they use to buy single-family homes at 200% market value. I don't see where that's probably that unusual. I do believe this is what we're talking about. Disparity of wealth. Somebody mentioned that. Stuff like that. And I don't know about the exact issue you're talking about, but I don't see where that's unlikely to happen. I believe something like that has happened. I mean, that's what it is. Wealthy making it harder on those at the bottom to benefit themselves. That's how the whole thing works. Tim, these people don't even realize you are exposing their ignorance. I'm exposing their opinion, alter ego. Be kind to the guest. Be kind. Alter ego. Now let's talk about that last caller. What about the last caller? He's entitled to his opinion. It may be different from yours. Folks, what do we promise on the program every single day we're on? We go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. We believe in the right to free speech. You don't have to agree with anyone on the program, including yours truly. We always believe in allowing the folks to speak, which also leads me to the regular spiel, which is if you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle, you are in the right place. You don't have to ever worry about the host trying to block, ban, or censor you. If this is what you favor, feel free to follow the program on TikTok, smash that like button on YouTube. Thank you for that heart, Diane Tucker. Thank you. Appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Certainly noticed that. Looking in the somebody says Tim rules. Thank you. Chris, I wish you had told my ex-wife that. Tim rules. He was worse than the other guy. Where are you finding these nuts? Truth is irony. I'm finding these people in America. This is a free country. He may be in line voting behind you. Understand that. So this is a free country. People have a right to feel the way they are. That's funny though. He was, you're having a lot of dinners. Okay. All right. Thank you. He MAGA. He just doesn't want to admit it. What did he? I asked him, what did he say? What is a political affiliation? I don't, because a lot of folks, I don't know about my last caller, but there are folks who are hesitant to admit their political affiliation. This ain't the place to be hesitant, folks. I'm not going to down you. I don't give a damn who you're voting for. I'm going to allow you to speak. Even when folks are critical of yours truly, I read comments that are critical of me all the time. Everything from you don't know what you're talking about to you're full of shit. I believe in free speech. So don't hide who you're voting against. It can really interfere with our conversation. And as many point out, we're going to find out through the questions you're asked anyway. So you don't have to hide who you're voting for. I'm liberal as hell. I do my research. says, Daryl, that's good on you, but depends on where you're getting your information from. Doesn't mean it's always accurate. I'm not a big fan of PragerU, for instance, or Epoch Times because of my political leanings. I don't believe their information is always accurate. But going back to the box, truth is indeed irony. Good afternoon, Truth. Welcome to the program. So you've been listening in. It's been busy, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been very, very entertaining.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Couldn't do it without you.
You had a brother on there who said that he thinks that black people vote because black people before them voted Democrat. Before them voted Democrat.
Yeah, and I was trying to get to the root of it. He went right into Lyndon Johnson and welfare.
Yeah, so first of all, more white people on welfare than black people. And welfare was for black people, but for white people.
I would submit to you, not only are you accurate about more whites being on welfare than blacks, I would submit to you that if more blacks, with only a percent of this population, blacks only represent about 13 to 15% of the population. If more blacks were on welfare than whites, welfare would go away. I would tell you that right off the bat, but go ahead.
It would. And here's the thing. Let me just explain to the people that are in the comments why people of color vote Democrat. And it's very, very easy. Go to Wikipedia and look and find the picture of the Republican Party that's elected in the Republican Congress and the Republican Senate. Then get a picture of the Democratic Party that's in the in the Democratic Congress and the Democratic Senate. It's a big difference. And Kevin McCarthy said it himself. He said, when I look at my party, we look like the most exclusive country club in America. When I look at the Democratic Party, it looks like America. That's why we vote American. Because if you're going to change anything, you have to be at the table. You can't be on the outside looking in and begging these Republicans who 94% of the elected national leaders in the Republican Party, 94% of them are white men. So you can't be looking on the outside saying, please help me, give me some, please, please, please. But in the Democratic Party, you actually have a voice. You actually have a seat at the table. And Joe Biden's cabinet, it is the most diverse cabinet in American history. So when decisions are made that impact this country, we're actually there. We actually have a voice. We actually hear.
But wait a minute. I was told, wow, and Leslie looked out for you. I was told that it is Biden that is the racist. It is Biden. Vote for me or you ain't black. Trump has done more for black people than anyone. How do you respond to that?
Well, here's how I respond to that. Shut the front door. That's absolute nonsense. First of all, I don't care what Biden says. I don't even care what Trump says. Show me what you're going to do. Biden appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court of the United States. Biden has a vice president who is a woman of color. Biden's press secretary is a woman of color. Austin, a man of color. If you go down the list, there are people that look like me that represent my ethnicity and represent what I think and what I believe and my experience. So I'm definitely going to favor.
How do you explain, and by the way, Furback, thank you for that subscription. I do appreciate you folks that subscribe to the program. Thank you, Furback, by the way. I did notice that extension. What I want to ask you, Truth Designer, is if the right side of the aisle, you mentioned 94% of them are white males. Trump, by the way, is indeed doing better with black people than any of his Republican predecessors, such as George W., George H.W., Reagan. If folks are suggesting that the Republican Party is not in favor of blacks, why is he doing better with black people?
Because I'll explain that to you too. Here's my belief on why that's happening. You have a generation of people now who have been poorly educated. You have men of color who want to be in the next level with their white counterparts. So in order for them to get there, they feel like they have to blend in. They got to marry someone that is not, that's not of their race. They have to blend in with that group in order to be accepted and in order to be elevated to the next level. So they can't identify with who they really are. And people you talk about Candace Owens all you want, but one thing that she said that's absolutely true is that the lack of fathers in some of the black homes are having an impact. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that a black woman cannot raise a black man to be an effective human being and do whatever he needs to be. But there are some
Basically, you're saying fathers in a home is a much needed entity. We need fathers in a home. Yeah,
absolutely. Now that's not an excuse for people to do anything, to do wrong or to commit crimes or anything like that. And I don't believe that it necessarily has to be a father. It could be an uncle. It could be a grandfather.
A male figure.
Yeah, a man. Yeah, that teaches them how to be a man, along with the woman that teaches them how to treat women. But I think there's a generation of men who have no real male father figures who have taught them, look, we don't need to be them in order to be on their level. We can still be who we are and still advance. And I think that's why you have so many of these young brothers who don't know their history, who haven't been taught, who think that they know better than the people who try to talk to them and the people that have gone on before them. And so they're trying to assimilate, and they're doing it by throwing away their pride. They're spitting in the face of their ancestors who, and here's the problem, the Republican Party, if they have their way, people of color would find it extremely difficult, if not impossible, to vote.
Wow.
That's what.
But let me play the devil's advocate role and push back. Now, how do you respond to somebody who might say, if the Republican Party had their way, literally millions of black babies being aborted would actually be born, and that is indeed beneficial to black people. If the Republican Party had their way, you couldn't kill black babies. How do you respond to that?
So I'm a little ambivalent, I would say, on the abortion issue. I'm pro-life, but I'm pro-life when I believe that if you're going to force unwanted children into this world, then you need to have a safety net for them that are born. You need to have somebody to take care of that kid that the mother doesn't want.
Facts.
So I'm definitely pro-life. Now I'm pro-life with an exception if because I have 4 daughters. If one of my daughters is pregnant and that baby is challenging her life, then that baby has to go. I'm sorry. I'll take her wherever, Mozambique if necessary, to make sure that my child that I know that is living survives. But I don't believe that abortion should be a method of birth control.
Okay. So let me, because you mentioned fatherlessness on YouTube. Joseph Kuhn, friend of the program, said feminism created fatherless homes by killing the marriage rates and increasing the divorce rates. Do you think feminism has anything to do with the destruction of the nuclear family?
I think that contributes, but it's far more than that.
Okay.
It's far more than that. I think that's really short-sighted, because I have no problem with a strong woman, a woman who believes that, that.
Yeah, but that if you go to a feminist rally and you're bashing men, they're not going to turn you away.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know it is. Feminism is kind of a substitute word for male bashing, but on the other hand, you have to empower women, because there is, let's face it, there's, the men that are available, especially for women of color, that number is dwindling, because a lot of our brothers are not marrying women of color. A lot of them are not seeking marriage at all. Some, there's some of them that are not seeking female attention. So that number is dwindling and dwindling. And so for the woman of color who wants to marry a man of color, that her options, unfortunately, are, you know.
Well, she can pick a white man. She can pick a white man, could she not?
I said who wants to marry a man of color. So,
Okay.
So obviously that barn door is wide open if they want to go into that barn. But listen, here's the thing. Like I said, I have 4 daughters. I told them to marry somebody that's going to treat them right and that's going to love them. Doesn't matter what color they are.
Or gender?
Yeah. I suggest that they be able to procreate because I would like grandbabies.
So you don't. So you would have an issue if your daughter or son was married.
One of my daughters actually is,
You're hesitant.
Serious.
You're hesitant though.
Yeah, I want to use the right word, but she is not. She's not gay, but she does. I guess play. She's a switch hitter. I guess I don't know.
Okay, but your conversation.
She is, but and I love her, and we, she's, hasn't been ostracized or anything like that. That's her daughter. I still love her.
Okay.
I still tell her every time I see her, give me some grandbabies.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because your conversation went from smooth to Morse code, bunch of dots and dashes.
That was you threw away.
Okay, I heard a bunch of dots and dashes all of a sudden. All right, well, I do gotta move it on, Truth. You know what we gotta do here. I appreciate you coming in, though.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, man. Please, thank you. And keep on keeping on, brother, because I do believe you're doing a good service, man. TikTok is useful for something, man, and it's because of guys like you that have to hold this platform down. And you create positivity here, man. A lot of people don't.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the accolade. Doors always open. Looking in the comments, someone said something that I thought was outrageous. I don't know if YouTube's going to leave it up there. Replacing marriage. By the way, thank you for the super chat. Joseph Kuhn said, replacing marriages with 2 single people increase the demands for housing with inflation, with inflated cost of living. That is true. That I agree with that comment. Just like, we used to have a family in the home. Just like if you and your wife or you and your husband break up, now you need 2 structures to live in as opposed to all being in one. So it can't put a strain on housing. Because we used to pair up, you come out of high school, you pair up with somebody, and y'all live in one structure. Now you need 2 of them for you guys, because neither one of you are pairing up with anybody. So I do see some validity in that. And Joseph, thank you for the super chat. Somebody was trolling, and I thought it was a funny comment, which I shouldn't have found it funny. I wanted to read it. It's bad, but we get bad comments every day. Everything music and guitar shenanigans said, I had my ex-wife tried to get an abortion. I crashed my car into hers to stop her from going to the clinic. Yikes. That's an actual comment. Looking in the comments here, it's also more people on this earth. That is true as well. The population is growing. And if you're talking about banning abortion, that's going to speed it up even more. And yeah, Mr. Java, that is indeed a felony. Didn't an NFL player, David Caruth or somebody like that, didn't he do something similar? Had a woman that was pregnant. She was already counting how much she was going to get in child support or something. He took her life. That did. We talk about stuff like this. I do believe that a lot of guys have had Ray Caruth of the Panthers, Carolina Panthers. And he's out, by the way. He's gotten out of prison for that. Did it back in the 90s or something like that. He's out of prison. Killed his baby mama to be because he didn't want her to have the baby. And I was going to lead in by saying I do believe a lot of men have perpetrated an abortion on their own against the woman's wishes. Knock up a girl. She wants to have the baby. You don't want her to have the baby. An abortion. One that takes the life of the mother too. I believe a lot of guys have done that, and that's throughout history. Not as much now because there is far more accountability for it, but I'm sure it was happening back in the day. In fact, I went to, and I'll continue on in a second, but I remember going on a horse carriage tour in New Orleans. You go to New Orleans and they put you on a horse carriage, and the guy who's controlling it is giving you a tour. This is down in the French Quarter. and he pointed up to some Catholic church or parish, and he stated that there's still rumors that there's a bunch of skulls of babies because the nuns were getting impregnated by the priest, and so that no one would know they were aborting children. I don't know if any of you ever heard of that, but I forgot how I used to let folks know, because it's a big story. You can Google it and everything, but I used to know where to tell people to go, how to find out about it. But yeah, there was a bunch of abortions essentially by the Catholic Church to hide the fact that priests were sleeping with the nuns. I was having a debate with somebody earlier about the Catholic Church. Some of the history of the Catholic Church is dark as hell. I just thought of that while we were talking. Anyhow, going back to the box, and I see a lot of you guys are saying correct, so you may have heard of it as well. They make jokes about pushing them down the stairs. That's a bad joke, Pep. Bad joke. Real quick, looking in the comments before we move it on. Replacing marriage. Oh, yeah, I saw that. You gave BlackRock the ability to do that that was earlier in regards to Blackstone getting $1 billion loan to purchase homes at low interest rate, make it harder on poor people. And someone responded by saying, well, you gave BlackRock the ability to do that by implementing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Federal government is not for the people. A hell of a lot of folks believe that. Going back to the box, I don't know what I just did there, but we'll continue on with Nana, or better, I meant to click Furback. All right. Nevertheless, appreciate that. The box is having a few issues. Biden is fighting against that right now. Think he'll win? Nana, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hey, so I take it you've been listening in. Do you think Trump is likely, or better yet, Trump is telling the truth when he suggests he would never support or sign a federal abortion ban?
Hell no.
You think he would do it?
No, how many lies has he been caught in? And he's a people pleaser. So he likes to be liked, and he likes for people to talk about him. Just like he got up there and said, I'm the reason that abortion got a ban. Do you really think he's going to sit up there and not push through with it? That's crazy.
Well, what about the notion that they're not trying to take away women's rights? They're just trying to get the power back to the states.
No, here's the thing about the states. The states are going based off of their feelings. It's not about the law. It's about their feelings and what they believe. So I think it should be federal and federal alone, because they're going off law-based and off medical-based versus the states having an opinion over it.
So let me make sure I'm getting clarity here. You believe that abortion should be legalized federally?
Yes.
There's a lot of right-wing states out there, that probably would disagree with you. I mean, Alabama, they're not there. I don't know if Alabama.
And a bunch of them is a bunch of dumbasses from top to bottom, starting with the IVF, all of that. Yeah. They're basing everything off of their own personal thoughts and beliefs, just like the panel that they had up there asking questions about abortion. Not once did they ask a medical professional. They were just women in their opinions. He was like, I didn't ask you. I can't remember who it was up there that was asking the questions, but he was asking two women that were basing everything off their feelings, not off of a medical standpoint, but off of their feelings.
Yeah, it's mostly religious based. I do agree that feelings is in it, because it's feeling that you're going against, the teachings of God. It's mostly religious based. Usually when you people talk about, why abortion is wrong, the Bible ultimately comes up a lot of times.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing. 100% of the time, a pregnancy is dangerous to women. It's not nan time that a woman can get pregnant where she's not putting her life at risk. And they're talking about it's a life from conception. That may be, but the body sees it as a parasite. So what's the problem there?
And see, I'm being a man, I hate even having to discuss with a woman whether she can have an abortion. I mean, because I don't have to go through that shit. And as you said, 100% of the time, it is dangerous to the woman. So demanding that she go through that, it's not my place. That's my humble opinion. But in the comments, Daryl stated something, and I want to run it by you. You're African American, I assume. In the comments, Daryl stated if they had their way, they would bring back slavery. Do you see any reason to suggest that?
I wholeheartedly believe it. They barely want to give us human rights. As to why is it the fact that, I'm sorry.
Wait, say that again?
I said, I believe in my whole heart that it's true, because why is it that we're at a point in 2024, 2023, where an officer can unalive a human being that has no weapon and still be justified in their right because they're afraid because of the complexion of our skin? I'm sorry, but my skin doesn't make me no target.
So you do believe that there's an issue with law enforcement offing folks of color?
Yes.
Why do you think there's so many people who think otherwise? Why do you think there's so many people who think otherwise? There's a hell of a lot of people that'll step up. Blue Lives Matter. They're just trying to go home to their families. 99% of cops are good.
People. But here's the thing about that. Y'all have such an opinion on things you cannot experience. You might experience prejudice. You might experience somebody having a distaste or a dislike for you, but you have never experienced racism. You have never been denied access or opportunities because of your skin. You were offered them over somebody else, and your white skin privileges you, gets you advantages over me because I'm black.
But the pushback is going to be, listen, I had to grow up in Jason Aldean, try that in a small town. I grew up impoverished, lived in a trailer park or lived in a poor subdivision myself, had to work hard, had to pull myself up by my bootstraps. I didn't grow up rich. Where's the privilege? How do you respond to white folks who say nothing was given to them either?
Nothing. You know what? I explained it in this way. If we all were born and we were placed on the starting line, right? The difference is if you take 10 steps, I can't take those 10 steps because they done put a shackle on my foot.
Oh.
You take 20 steps and there's a barrier in front of me. I have to climb over that. Now you're 100 steps ahead of me. So you can say that we can all start at the same place and we can both be broke, but the opportunity is if we apply for the same thing, you've got the advantage of getting the access to it before I will. I have to work 10 times harder for the things that you don't have to work that hard for.
And you believe that situation is still prevalent in 2024 because
it definitely is when it comes to employment, when it comes to finding when it comes to getting what is that word, getting loans from banks, all of that still applies. Your skin color actually really plays a prevalent part in everything that you do in life. When it comes to renting, when it comes to you buying a house, when it comes to you selling a house, your house is marketed at a lower value. It's priced at a lower value, and it's still prevalent.
That happened to me. Yeah, that happened to me personally. Todd in the comments though says the race card thing is over. Why do you think there's so many Americans?
The race card thing is over to you, like I said, because you don't get to experience it. You can't sit up here and tell anybody of color, even if it's not just blacks, it can be Hispanics and all. You don't get to say that something is over because you've never had to pick up the card to play it.
Well, in regard, listen, life can be difficult. I agree with you, and the race card can certainly happen. But first, watching the comments says nowhere in the world is easy. So pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Look, life is unfair sometimes. How do you push back on that? How do you respond to that?
Life is unfair to who? Life is not unfair to all. If we were all afforded the same opportunities and everything was equal for everybody, yes, you can say that. But your bootstraps stay on without pulling them up. Everybody else got to hold on to theirs, so don't give me that shit.
Wow. Now, folks in the comments are suggesting that your statements are divisive, just like the Morgan Freeman video. You can get rid of racism by not talking about it.
Not talking about it doesn't erase nothing. Just like if I don't say anything about my color, you still see that I'm black.
Yeah. And I've said something similar, that if Martin Luther King stopped talking about racism, you really think it would have went away? I don't think any atrocity, and I'm not just talking about racism, whether it's, mistreating children, mistreating women, you name it. No, that's what someone who is doing wrong wants, is silence. Nothing bad is going to go away by going silent on it. I don't know what would make him have ever said that, but all right, a lot of folks disagree with you, but at the same time, a hell of a lot do. At the end of the day, is it safe to assume you probably won't be on the Trump train?
Hell no, not even if I didn't have feet.
Damn. All right. Is this our first time talking?
No, I've talked to you before, but it's been a minute.
All right.
The other thing that I wanted to say to you before we disconnect is that I don't believe that people who are voting for Trump are reading anything but the bold print. Anything that they're believing is right there in the bold letters, and they're not reading the fine print.
What does the bold print say? What does the bold print they're reading say?
I'll give you what you want. Anything that you're asking for, like the lower taxes, the government being all in your business, and all of that applies to them because most of them are tired of the government.
What's wrong with that? Then what's wrong with that? I mean, that's logical.
I can say that the government can be assholes. I can say this, that, and the other. But if you have issues with it, vote for the person that you want in office that's really going to. Is that an echo?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so this is how I feel about it. Without the government in place, people do what they want, and that causes another issue because you'll have people running left, right, and no one will be looking ahead to fix anything for their future. Right. You have to have somebody to oversee something. I'm so sorry, but people in their control issues and their money-hungry problems, that causes an issue for everybody.
All right. Well, appreciate you coming back on again there, Nana. Real quick, while you're on the way out, just wanted to read a comment on YouTube that was directed at you by the one and only Joseph Kuhn that says, America is in the top 1% worldwide. Stop crying. That was directed at you.
Tell him to jump off of... Let me not say that because I'll probably get banned off of TikTok.
I gotta go.
Everybody is part of that 1% and not even him. The fuck?
All right, Nana. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. You got me coughing like I've been smoking weed. All right, let me go back to the box. The left needs to stop feeling sorry for themselves, says just me. You really think it's just the left? Folks on the left, they believe that LGBT members are not getting treated right, or they believe that blacks are victims of racism. Folks will suggest that's victim mentality. But folks on the right believe that Trump is a victim of all of that stuff too. Folks on the right believe that men are being victimized. Replacement theory is, so it's happening on both sides. It's not just happening on the left, but I do appreciate your comment. They're not happy about anything, says just me. Real quick in the comments, thank you for, you guys, wow, 146,000 likes. I didn't even ask for a while, but I do appreciate you guys who have been showing the program some love. Still 500 plus of you in here. Could be anywhere you want to be this Wednesday. Always a pleasure having you here with me for a short time. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central is when we're here. If you enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, you are in the right place. I would encourage you follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube if you will. Feel free to smash that like button on YouTube, tap the screen on TikTok. Looking in the comments, you got it, Smasher. Thank you. Maybe they should try not being so replaceable. Yikes. Pep. Shout out to Beyonce. Don't you ever for a second get to thinking you're irreplaceable. Furback. Good afternoon. One of my subscribers, certainly got to bring up a subscriber. Thank you, Furback, by the way. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. You've been listening in. I'll give you the floor for a minute.
All right. Well, when Sight was talking, you asked for Trump.
Yes.
I don't know if you caught my comment, but I've often said and been saying that in my eye, whether they white or black, people are being bought and sold. First thing you hear anytime someone talks about Trump is gas and groceries. And
that's legitimate, though. The economy is important with every politician.
No problem. Hey, no problem. But at what point can you be bought where you say, I can look past the other shit? You know what I mean? I'm the type of guy, I've been saying this for a while. I'll pay $10 a gallon for gas. if he's not the president.
Wow. Wait, let me make sure I get that clear. You're saying as opposed to re-electing Trump, you would be ready, you would prefer to pay $10 for gas?
Yes, because, you know, and also Fight kind of tapped into it. My elders told me, don't embarrass us, which means that it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. It's about our country. It's not just about my pocket, it's about the welfare of the country. And I think that man is dangerous. I mean, we talked a couple weeks ago about him put that thing of Biden from Twitter, you know, hog-tied and all that.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of that at all.
What kind of ramifications would that have? What if that was Putin in that picture? What kind of ramifications would that have? So it's okay to do it to a sitting U.S. president? I don't understand the logic, Tim.
I'm not a fan of it, but are you suggesting that Trump is indeed promoting violence upon his opposition?
Sure.
Wow.
Don't we have enough evidence of that?
I wasn't a fan of the.
It's on you to.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's on you as a voter to see if that's your line. That's my point. Like I don't care how good the economy is. If I gotta sell my soul, in my opinion, to get it, I don't want it.
But how do you respond to someone? Okay, but how do you respond? Because you're talking about being willing to pay $10 in gas as opposed to getting Trump back. In the comments, First Watch says, my ancestors fought Biden, not Trump. Are you voting against your own interests as a black man by re-electing Biden?
No, and prove it to me. I'm the black man here. I don't know, other than you, I'll listen to you. I don't know who that guy is. Most of the time, these accusations and what black people should do come from people that don't look like us and don't live in our neighborhood.
That often does, and I've said before, if anybody knows what it's like to be a victim of racism, the victim of it is going to know more than anybody else. You shouldn't have to tell somebody you are being mistreated. They know. But I have to respond by saying they're going to point to the crime bill of the 90s that Biden co-authored that put a lot of black people in prison. By the way, Kamala Harris is, as a former DA, I believe she was, she's responsible for putting a lot of black people away as well. So they're going to say that Trump, while he was president, actually pardoned a few black people. The floor is yours.
Like I said, Tim, where I'm at with it, so what? So what? So what? That's how dangerous I think that man is.
Why do you think he's dangerous? What do you think he's promising that would be dangerous in your opinion?
Well, the promises don't bother me. It's the rhetoric. And people can call it feelings or not, but I've said to you before, words matter.
Yeah.
Words matter. People like the off the cuff and the unhingedness and, he's straightforward. So he's talking to another world leader and he says, you know what, by the way, we're gonna nuke these people. Oops. Yeah. Did I just say that? It's too late.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with your words.
Yeah, that's
and not just as a president, but as a person, as people.
I've had that conversation with a lot of members of my beloved MAGA, as I like to say, but I agree with you, words do matter, and that's been one of the difficulties for Trump supporters from day one, is trying to convince people to only pay attention to what he's doing for America and nothing that's coming out of his mouth. I don't think there's any way for anybody to be a leader of the free world and have people ignore what they're saying. But that's something they've been trying to do from day one. Look at what he's doing with the border, the economy, there's no global conflicts. Just ignore everything he's saying. I don't know if you could get a country to do that for any leader.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like a petulant child. We see him in the store, pop his ass on the hand. There's no repercussions of his actions. You know what I mean? There's no repercussions. So why would he change? At this point, you have to blame his supporters in the GOP. They're holding this man up. Yeah. And anything he does, they justify by saying that he's gonna give us cheaper gas and groceries will go down. I'm sorry, damn it. I don't care about that. But
those are actions. And Brian Smith in the comments says, what matters more than words? Actions. Once again, meaning what I just said. Pay attention to what he's doing, not what he's saying. So you don't buy into that.
No, R. Kelly could sing real good.
Oh my God. All right, you win this one, Burback.
That's basically the argument.
Yeah, wow.
See you, brother.
All right, appreciate you coming on. Damn, I didn't think you would end it like that. All right, R. Kelly can sing real good. Looking in the comments real quick, there's some, I'm assuming that, there's some bullshit. Is that what you're trying to say with the asterisk there? Dr. E. Allen, you can type the word here. We don't censor. There's some B something said he'd rather, okay, there's some bullshit. Said he'd rather for the whole country to be sold. I then to back Trump. I don't quite get your comment, Dr. D. Allen, but you can retype it. I'll try to read it again. Business couldn't sell their products under the Trump administration. Huh? What do you mean by that? Businesses couldn't sell their products. I'm not aware of that. They say ignore his words, but then they wholeheartedly support his words. That's a really good point to be made, Ricardo. Is that if you, because I can't disagree with any part of that, and I'm going to tell you why. Trump calls someone like Nikki Haley a bird brain. The liberals complain. Ignore his words. Pay attention to what he does, not what he says. But then they start calling Nikki Haley a bird brain themselves. Clearly, you're not ignoring it. You're not ignoring it. You're telling me to ignore it. So that does make a great point. Same thing with Sleepy Joe, Nervous Nancy, Crazy Bernie, Little Marco, Lion Ted Cruz. They're using the same terms. Most of the insults that Trump uses on his opposition, you can generally type that insult in on Google or some other search engine, and it's trending. It's trending. Other people are using it. So that's a very good point, is that while some folks are saying they ignored Trump's statements, if you're repeating it, you're not ignoring it either. So you just like it. The only difference between this person and that person is you just like what they're saying. Now, if no one was saying Rhonda Sanctimonious or Bird Brain or some of these other comments, then yeah, now you're ignoring it. But you're echoing what he's saying. So you're not ignoring it. You just like it. It's a good point, Ricardo. Looking in the comments, farmers in Alabama couldn't sell their products under Trump because of his China ban. I got to push back a little bit. When Trump started going after China during the height of COVID, folks were calling them racist. And now that we have hindsight, it does look like China should have been held accountable for COVID. So I gotta see that. Now, there's plenty of times when folks are criticizing Trump where I see some justification for it. But in this case, he was criticizing, looks like, the proper entity that produced the virus, was lying about it, lied about their death totals. China was really lying about what was going on with COVID. Trump was pointing it out. So in hindsight, when they're lying about what's going on in their country, and you start shutting down our country to theirs because they have created a deadly virus and they're not being honest about it, that's kind of a score for Trump, in my opinion. I think the issue is, though, just like we talked about, ignore the rhetoric, pay attention to the actions. The rhetoric coming from Trump in regards to that whole virus was awful. Kung flu virus. I mean, the medical professionals gave the virus a name. COVID-19 or whatever the hell, a novel virus. They gave it a name, the coronavirus. It was given a name. Trump deliberately renamed it to target China. That's rhetoric that people did not favor. That is rhetoric that people did not favor. So the rhetoric hurt him. But in hindsight, shutting off China, not letting the Chinese have access to America when they're actively lying about a deadly virus, actually was doing what was right by America. So he don't get the proper credit that, in my opinion, he probably should be for that. But the whole problem with Trump in the coronavirus, in my opinion, is his handling of it was all over the place. His handling of it is what probably hurt him the most, suggesting it would be gone by April. That's based on nothing, based on absolutely nothing. And he continued on and on and on, challenging the viral, folks like Dr. Fauci and the virologists and things like that. With no medical credentials, you're not in place to do that. So once again, the rhetoric hurt him, which has happened throughout his presidency. Nevertheless, folks, you know what it is. I do appreciate you rolling with me. 154,000 likes on this Wednesday, 1 p.m. Central. Monday through Friday is when we're here. You enjoy civilized dialogue, both sides of the aisle. Feel free to follow the program on TikTok. Smash that like button on YouTube. And until then, it's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for my YouTube audience as well. Been a pleasure working with you guys today, hashing it up. At the end of the day, this abortion ban most likely will continue. The discussion on this will continue because every few days or few weeks, another state jumps on it. We were just talking about Florida late last week. Florida had a 6-week abortion ban. Most women don't even know they're pregnant by 6 weeks. And before we could finish talking about Florida, Arizona decided to go back to 1864 on us. There will be other states, folks. There will be other states. Talked about Ohio, 10-year-old kid got raped, had to go out of state to have an abortion. Talked about Texas, 31-year-old Kate Cox, baby with a 95% chance of dying before being born, was being forced to carry the baby to term, even though doctors said her life was at risk. Now we went from Ohio to Texas to Florida, Arizona, Alabama. I mean, it's a lot of states out there like this. So this conversation will continue because more and more states are taking on this type of mindset, and more women are coming forward and saying that their lives are at risk. So we'll continue on. I appreciate you tuning in. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. See you tomorrow.